Something so interesting happened this weekend, Stugotz, because I am in the camp, and you make fun of me for this. When it comes to mixed martial arts, I sort of put down some of my moralities. I've always liked the art of it. So when I'm watching football, I know the trades I'm making, like the Teddy Bridgewater thing I want to talk about, and how uncomfortable Elijah Riley in the Jets game, how uncomfortable it is. And Joe Buck talking about the night before, something that looked like a quivering, spasming seizure of some sort, headed toward the locker room on a stretcher, and Joe Buck got crucified for saying that it was cold in Los Angeles that night and sort of putting on the costume of this is different than what you think you're watching. When it comes to the mixed martial arts, I've been a purist. I like the art of it. I really do. I know it's barbaric, and I know that John McCain called it cockfighting once upon a time, but I liked just the art of it. I like the art of boxing. You make fun of me, and I lose. I lose now to Jake Paul. He's really smart.
Everyone loses to Jake Paul.
He's really smart. He does not care about the discerning in Woodley's not a striker, and he's 5 years shot. Like, Woodley is shot. That is, he has propped up an opponent twice, and he should give him a Rolex like he did before the fight, because now he can attack Dana White and say, bring me all your champions. And Dana will ignore him, but at his own risk, because Jake Paul has been really smart about how he has handled the fight game and his opponents, and kids win and popular wins, and Jake Paul is calling it the greatest night of his life because now he's got the signature knockout as well, and nobody cares that it's a washed Woodley who couldn't strike to begin with, and is like, it's not the same sport, right? He is taking advantage of the fact that you could bring not all the UFC guys, but the UFC guys who are not strikers, you could bring them into a boxing ring, and Jake Paul might have some advantages because, I mean, it's not, Chuck Liddell doesn't survive anymore in mixed martial arts. You can't just be a striker, but none of that matters. The discerning does not matter. Chris, did you eat this up? Because he looks like to people who aren't paying attention to like what real boxing is, and they don't care, and I will lose caring about it. You're watching this, and it's like, this is amateur boxing. This is really amateur, but not as an event. It's not. And now he's calling out Dana White, and Dana White has got to sort of like continue to tell his people, hey, the art of this, I'm not going to grace this man's circus with commentary, but Jake Paul keeps bringing the fight to UFC by saying, bring me all your champions, bring me all your guys who can't actually strike. McGregor, bring me all of them, and he's setting up a payday here.
It's brilliant that he's just taking the steps up the ladder so small. It's like every fight he's fought, the person that he's fighting has a little bit more credibility than the last one. So it's like, it's just brilliant by him. I don't know how much money he's made these last 2 years, but he could have just, maybe McGregor would take a fight with him, but he's smart to just be like, I'll fight 5 guys before I fight McGregor. And now to the point of he hasn't really fought a striker yet. The people he's calling out next are strikers, at least. They're not boxers. They're UFC strikers in Nate Diaz and Masvidal.
Hold on. Masvidal was fighting in the back of Perrine and Gould's bare knuckle with cargo shorts on. Like, he is not only a striker, he's a bare knuckle boxer. Like, that's somebody that you do not want to.
But my point is like that we could see that. Like, we could actually, the next one could be something that's like, okay, now let's see if he can actually.
You understand my larger point. This kid and his family are going to win because what Floyd Mayweather was a brilliant businessman about keeping the pay-per-views. This kid's the spectacle now. He has got the ability to get a whole bunch of people in the tent to be curious about a young YouTube star who now you don't have to be discerning about this. It looks like he's making his way through the fight game. And that's beating up Nate Robinson and Woodley twice is not nearly that, but he can package it and he can sell it.
He's already won, but what happens if he loses? Like, does it go away that quickly if he loses?
But here's the thing, he's never going to pick an opponent that he can lose to so quickly. Right,
no,
like
but
that's
eventually
the thing.
You got to fight like a Conor. You got to validate.
He's not gonna, nobody's going to give him that validation from the UFC world. Masvidal, Nate Diaz would punch his lights out.
But he could just keep calling them out from a distance.
From a distance,
though.
yeah, of course, and be the winner.
And not take any of the fights. This is what I'm saying. He is spinning the game on his finger, and he keeps going after Dana White The bully, Dana White, the guy who won't pay his fighters, who doesn't pay his fighters, and he's giving away money. He's given Woodley 2 paydays he's never had being a champion because Dana White keeps all the money. And I can't root against that. Like, I could not like, a million different things about what he represents, but being smart enough to outsmart the fight game to make yourself that kind of relevant, and UFC's looking down on you after UFC came out of the gutter, looking down at you, and you're looking up at them and saying, bringing the fight to them, saying, who wants me from your world? And Dana White's, he's pinned, man. Like, what's he going to do?
To whom? Like, who knows anything about fighting thinks that Jake Paul is actually a good fighter?
No, but
I understand it's a completely different audience that he's courting.
I think it's a little dismissive, though. I think there's somewhere in the middle. You got, like, he's proven that he's not a joke of a boxer.
Okay, he's not a joke. He
might not be. Obviously, I don't think anyone thinks he's like elite world class.
He's an amateur boxer bringing in streaming service numbers that is like Mayweather when you go into Mexico and stuff. Like, these are off his fame and off his name.
But what does that mean? Like, it means money for him, and congratulations.
That's all it means.
But like, you're almost saying like there's an air of sporting legitimacy about it.
I'm saying it doesn't matter, Chris.
I know, of course it doesn't matter, but like,
no, Chris, he's saying,
but what difference does it make? Like, you can do this in a backyard on YouTube, or you can do this on Showtime pay-per-view.
The point is he's doing it on Showtime pay-per-view. That's the point.
They're chasing money.
But he sold out an arena. Dan's point is, yeah, but Dan loves boxing. But this kid, it's not boxing. We all agree. It's entertainment and boxing.
But what does it mean?
He's winning.
But okay,
it means
he's making a lot of money. I'll grant you that.
But
like, no one actually thinks that if he went into the boxing ranks, he can win a championship belt. If he went into the UFC, he can win a championship belt.
No, Chris, I think the audience they're courting, that it's flimsy and superficial enough. And I'm not disparaging young people here. I'm saying if you've already announced to me that you don't care about whether or not this is exceptional boxing, if you can be new to the sport, arrive here and be like, oh my God, my hero or this famous person, he's mowing down professional fighters, not amateurs. He's mowing them down. I see a whole lot of people that he's talking to that are his customers that he can get to keep paying him whatever those things cost every couple of months as he fights these exhibition bouts that aren't even as long as like he's going 6 rounds. He can come back and fight in a few, because it's not real boxing, because Woodley's not a striker. He can come back earlier than other fighters and fight again, like sooner than Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather never got hit.
My 2 17-year-old daughters are 2 of his customers. They don't know boxing. They don't care about it. They don't know Ali, Sonny Liston. They don't know Roberto Duran. They don't know anything. As far as they're concerned, Jake Paul is Ali. I mean, I'm serious, Chris.
But not to say that the opinion of your 17-year-old daughters doesn't matter, but
go ahead and say that.
This is entertaining.
Right, exactly.
I'm confused.
Right.
We're all sitting here like we're boxing experts. Like, I prefer my jabs to be a little more extended. Like, this is all just for entertainment.
No, sure.
Tony and I on Saturday night are texting about it. We're interested in it. It might not be real boxing,
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's real boxing. It's a spectacle.
None of this matters.
It's Darren Williams pushing Frank Gore through a ring.
That was wrong, by the way.
That was disqualified.
It happened like 3 times.
Nothing actually matters. What are we doing with the nothing matters thing?
Existential Chris over here. This is new. New character.
But
by the way, the big win of the night, I think, was Darren Williams' bleach blonde hair, because when he had his regular hair, a bit suspect, right? But the bleach blonde, no more questions asked.
That was the upset of the night, right? Everyone was expecting Frank Gore to handle that, and he didn't.
Darren Williams has hands, by the way.
Frank Gore could have started on half of the teams in the league yesterday.
You're right.
He would be the number 7 fantasy running back this
How
weekend.
did no one need Frank Gore yesterday?
Did anyone see the still shot of Frank Gore's face before one? There was like a slow-mo of his thing where he's just like,
yeah, it looks terrified. What have I gotten myself into? And then Darren Williams says afterward, I'm one and done. My dumb old ass doesn't want to do this again, because that's terrifying. Frank Gore is like a pit bull. He's another one whose body is made of bowling balls. I think it was 20 years earlier, so it couldn't have been who Butch Davis was talking about. But Frank Gore is exactly that kind of
Mount Rushmore bowling ball guy, I'd say. Frank Gore.
Frank Gore, I believe, was quoted after the fight as saying, I got hit and I didn't throw back. He was basically saying he forgot to throw punches. essentially.
He
Like
looked around. He looked around, and Darren Williams just socked him in the face. He was like, "Oh shit!"
he's gonna punch me again.
There are no teammates out here. There are no linemen. I
Thought
can't
this would be Nate
Wait a
Robinson.
minute. Why can't I go 3.5 yards and just get down and they stop hitting me? No, that is because that's crazy. Like what these people do for a living is nuts. And Frank Gore, he wasn't embarrassed though. Like it frightened me when I saw Darren Williams throw him through the ropes. The strength of Darren Williams frightened me. And I love that in the middle of talking about this, Stugotz launched a hot take of, and throwing him through the ropes was wrong, by the way. So please, you weren't allowed the space.
I mean, he's dragging around a legend who's going to go to Canton 3.5 yards at a time. I mean, I just felt bad. I don't know. Darren Williams is good at boxing. Frank Gore is a Miami legend. Frank Gore, I don't think he realized that you have to punch in boxing. And so I felt bad that Darren Williams was dragging a Miami legend all over the ring and then throwing him out of the ring. It was wrong. Show some respect for Frank Gore.
Did you guys see what was going on with Frank Gore's trunks? Because he had logos from specific teams, but quite randomly, there was a University of Michigan logo on his trunks. And I'm kind of wondering if he went to a tailor and said, yeah, give me a UM logo on my trunks, and they just put a Michigan one on there. Was I the only one that saw this?
I think you need to launch an investigation. I think this is where you need to become an insider again. You need to get to the bottom of that. That would.
I think he asked for a UM logo, thinking that the nation refers to the U as UM, and someone gave him a Michigan logo on his trunks,
and he didn't bother to look at it. That was also the look on his face in that in the meme. He did look scared, horrified, angry.
Frank Gore also didn't realize that Darren Williams is 6'3" and was punching him from so far away that he was just eating punches. He's like, how is this guy hitting me so far away?
It is not, Stugotz. That is when you say Darren Williams is a good boxer, he is not. But he's just not. He might be a good boxer for someone who's not.
That's right.
A boxer.
They'll retire 1-0, Dan.
But Billy, it sounds like you ate it up, right? So let me cede the floor to people who enjoyed the holy hell out of this because, again, Jake Paul is brilliant, and whoever it is that's helping him with the managing of this is brilliant because he is going to win in every way that he considers currency.
I'm just not understanding, like, everyone's like wants this like when you watch boxing, you're like, oh, that's a nice, like, it's just two guys in a ring beating each other up. Like, I don't understand, like, maybe Dan is like watched boxing longer than us, so he has this like respect for the sport, but like we're just like looking for an entertaining fight, right? If they're coming out swinging, I don't care how good of a boxer they actually are. I want to see an exciting fight, and Jake Paul does that.
But if we watched like a high school football game and they were throwing 80-yard touchdowns, you wouldn't watch it.
But I don't think this is that bad. I think you guys are, I mean, I'm not saying Jake Paul is some great boxer, but he's gotten in the ring with a handful of people and he knocks people out, everybody.
But Woodley's not, he's not a threat as a striker.
Okay, I'm not, see, once again, we're getting caught into like this, oh, he's technically.
The minutia,
like it's just overall, he's fighting guys in the fight game and he's knocking people out. I'm not saying that he won't get his ass kicked against a Masvidal. I want to see that. But I'm just saying, I just don't understand this. It seems like everyone's in here like, oh, I need it to be more technical. I need him to slip jabs better. It's like, who gives a shit?
I just want to watch. I want to watch the best. Like this is nowhere near
the
best of what they do.
I mean,
who's the number one boxer right now coming up? Are you watching WBC boxing? Okay,
no,
so what does it matter?
Well, I don't watch this. I don't watch this. Like it does nothing for me that some famous like. There was like celebrity boxing has existed for a very long time. Just because this is well packaged celebrity boxing, like it's not interesting to know that you're watching people who are probably not very good at this and would not stand the test of sporting scrutiny.
This is a kid that was a YouTuber that's like, what am I going to do with my life? He stumbled into this boxing thing and he's dived into it. Like full, like,
and he's become a legitimate boxer.
That's what I mean. Like,
he's a legit boxer.
I don't think you realize that. Like, he's a boxer now. I know he was a YouTuber and he's an asshole, so people don't like him. But
that's Whittingham's problem. He's saying he's not a boxer. If he fought Canelo Alvarez, it'd be over in 13 seconds. Like,
which is probably true. I don't know. Which is probably true. But I
want to watch 70 pounds on Canelo.
But I want to watch that.
Yeah, same. He's more entertaining than Floyd. We can agree to that, right?
Yes.
Floyd's boring to watch.
Well, but he's trafficking in some of the same stuff, though, right? Floyd got people to his fights because he was public asshole and people wanted to see him lose. His fights weren't actually entertaining. That was the grift he was running. That's why I was saying that before this guy is entering the realm of Floyd Mayweather, I believe is one of the great sports businessmen of all time because he owned his intellectual property before that was a thing. Like he was doing pay-per-view and he was just trafficked in your hate, profited off it. You wanted to see him get knocked out. This kid's got the same grift going. I have to respect it when you can command the dirty game and you're like 4 fights in and you didn't have to do any of the work that like real amateur boxers who have to devote their lives to this never get a fraction of these paydays.
This is like pop music. People love it. It's not great music.
It is great music.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just saying, I feel like that's a decent comparison because I feel like people are just dismissing this.
Dirty secret of the fight game, guys. Be the bigger asshole and you'll sell. Conor McGregor was a tremendous asshole. He also backed it up by beating everybody for 2 straight years. And that sells.
That we
Jake
knew.
Paul, Floyd Mayweather, be the biggest asshole in the room. Nate Diaz. Like, you're going to get fights.
And Chael Sonnen as well. Like, this is a well-traveled
John
model.
Jones.
But you also know that these dudes are incredible at what they do. Like, Conor McGregor was an amazing fighter. Jake Paul is just a dude who took up boxing as a hobby.
But Whitty, he's not just a dude. He's been training like a boxer for 2 years and has 4 fights under his belt that he has won handily.
Saturday was a lateral move for Jake Paul.
No, that knockout was big. That knockout was big for his career.
He fought the same guy, and he beat the same guy because he was willing to take a paycheck on 2 weeks' notice. Because the guy he was actually supposed to fight, who was a decent to mediocre boxer in Tommy Fury, backed out of the fight. But like what happened on Saturday was a lateral move for him.
How would you manage his boxing career, Whitty?
I would tell him to not box anymore because he's not a boxer.
Why would you tell him to not box?
Make money anymore?
What's happening here
with you?
Whitty, this is terrible
This is
advice.
crazy.
I don't understand. Why?
He's
Wait a
old,
minute.
Dan.
Wait a minute. Whitty.
Okay.
Whitty. I want to ride with Whitty on this. Okay.
No one wants to
Okay,
ride with
here-
Woody on this.
But Whitty, I cannot have you out here in public microphones. You cannot advise Jake Paul after the night of his life at the height of a profit center. You need to retire now because I, Whitty, say so.
Okay. He can keep boxing. He can keep making his
nice
money.
of you, right?
And, that's fine. But you're not going to get any kudos from anyone for how good you are as a boxer. Like,
I think he'll take the millions of dollars over.
Go ahead, go make your money. But I'm not like this is not a legitimate sporting enterprise. Frank Gore fighting Darren Williams,
But it has been.
It's a
That was wrong, man.
sideshow for money.
Should have done that.
Whitty, it has turned into a legitimate sports empire. He's built Showtime
Okay.
boxing back. It didn't have
unbelievable.
shit, and now it's back.
It's unbelievable. Ariel Helwani is out there giving the sport its legitimacy, and they're smart to pay him for it.
But why do you want to ride with Whittingham on this? I mean, the only one riding with Whittingham is Bob Arum. I mean,
Well, this is why boxing throughout time always loses, but always sells. The fighting, the talking about it. This kid has made a boxing conversation. Jim Lampley won't do some of these spectacle fights because he respects the sport that way. But Jim Lampley's an old man who can cries on air all the time talking about boxing while calling matches because he loves the gladiator pure courage in it. And what these guys are doing is more circus tenty.
Think about this for a second. UFC 269 that just happened. Juliana Pena just beat Amanda Nunes, the biggest upset in UFC history. There is nothing bigger than that. We didn't talk about it on the show for an entire week. This is the first time I'm bringing it up. We talk about Jake Paul the day after the fight. That's why it's big, Woody. That's why it's there. There's a reason why it's happening.
I grant you that this is a famous thing that a lot of people are talking about. It just has no sporting merit.
Yeah, but
which is
you
cool.
say that without
They'll
having
make a lot of
watched
money.
a second of it. You're just
Yeah,
kind of
Why
like,
would I
watched it.
watch that? It's celebrity boxing.
What were you doing Saturday night?
Has sporting merit before it happens, and you don't need to see it to know it doesn't happen.
I was watching the Colts and the Patriots. I was watching Carson
That
Wentz.
game was over.
I was watching
That game was
Carson
over,
Wentz
Woody. Stop.
complete 5 passes.
No, that game was over. What'd you do after?
Went to bed.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
That's definitely a
can you
Michigan
guys-
M. Mike has the in the group in the Zoom right now. That is a Michigan M for sure.
Whitty, just say it. The Pauls saved boxing.
Thank you.
What?
Say it.
I love
Boxing is fine.
I think there's probably a lot of
Yes.
people that agree with Whitty, but their reasoning is that they just don't like the Pauls and they're trying to do it in this like roundabout, it's not real boxing way. Like, it's okay if you don't
But
like
it's
him.
not
A lot
real
of people don't
boxing.
like him.
There's like no one who's in the top 100 of the
Oh my
WBO
God.
fighters. Like,
Did
these
they wear
are not
gloves?
professional boxers.
Did they wear gloves? Were they in a ring? It's boxing, buddy.
Thank you.
Whitty, I do. I stand with you.
But-
Right up until
No.
Whitty, I stand. I
don't.
stand with you on yelling, howling at clouds. This has no legitimate sports merit, and thinking you're going to win that argument. I follow you, the spirit of what it is that you're arguing on behalf of. But you lose, he wins, and he wins by knockout.
He wins what? He wins money.
He wins money, but he also wins.
What do you think he's doing it
wins
for?
The part that you're not taking into account because you're an old person, he wins the currency that is so valuable in his YouTube space to him and to us. He is the content. He owns the content. He is going into the fight game as a professional wrestler. He's playing the fight game correctly, and he is making more for fighters than anyone, because Dana White doesn't share that money. Dana White and the corporation and Disney take that money, and the fighters get 18% of it. And this dude, no matter how much we can criticize, hey, is this great or not, has us talking about this in a way that Adrian Broner couldn't make us do. And Broner was trying to play this game poorly after Floyd, a legitimate boxer trying to play that game. He's got all of the things that you need to get the currency of the day in YouTube, your attention. Like, that's what he wins. Your attention is the currency. It's what pays for everything.
And he's so polarizing that he has somebody who hasn't watched a second of his fight just dismissing it completely.
Yes.
Like, this guy's a joke. Like, that's kind of, he wins even more there.
It is amazing artistry to see this dude specifically come in and spin all of this on his finger. Because Dana White, what is the counter from Dana White on this? As he howls, bring me all your champions. Bring me all of them. Hey, guy who won't pay for his fighters. Guy, I just gave Woodley again the payment of his career. I gave him a Rolex beforehand. Hey, thanks for making this possible. I'm paying the people on the undercard more than your UFC fighters are paid. And now he's coming after Dana White publicly. I don't know. Does Dana White sit it out? He's a bully. Does Dana White not punch down? Because he's been dismissing him in this press conference. But Dana, you've become the thing that you didn't want to be when you were fighting your way up the chain.
The establishment.
You're the corporate overlord establishment. You work with Disney now, dude.
It's silence, right? That's the comeback. There's silence. He can't say anything because if he says something to Jake Paul, he's legitimizing that. Oh yeah, if I loan somebody out to
Validates
Showtime
him.
Boxing, it validates what you're doing. So yeah, you can take Ben Askren, who's already out of his deal. You can take Woodley, who's been washed for 10 years. Like, yeah, it's easy for him to not look at it. But now that he's asking for Masvidal, Nate Diaz, Connor, the big guys, he's got to say nothing.
I love Nate Diaz being at the fight, getting interviewed, and being like, "No, I'm not here for Jake." It's like, dude, you're sitting ringside. Like, what? Like, are
He's
we
here for
that?
Darren
Nobody
Williams.
wants to give Jake Paul anything. That's
Frank
like Nate
Gore.
Diaz is there, sitting ringside. I'm here for my boy that fought earlier. Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing right now?
But here, if he were to take one of the Diaz brothers next, that would get a lot of people
Would be
watching
huge.
the fight.
And but I think he's a couple fights from then people like Woody having to be like, if he beats Nate Diaz, it's a step. It's what?
not beating Nate Diaz.
Okay,
He
my
won't
point.
beat, he won't beat him though.
Nate Diaz is a
that's
zombie.
Whittingham's point.
I don't know.
All right, but I think the point is that we don't really, like, we're all just saying that like we're these experts. It's like, we don't know. We've all thought Jake Paul was going to lose a couple fights ago. And, people thought that Nate Robinson could beat Jake Paul.
Whitty, outside of Canelo, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder, name 5 boxers
Well,
that
I
are
just
active.
I just happened to pull up the,
Oh, look at him. He's
the divisional rankings.
Oh my God.
I want him
Okay.
I want Jake Paul to fight the number 10 boxer in the heavyweight division, who apparently is a lad named Otto Wallen.
But hold on, he's not a heavyweight.
If he fights Wait, he's not a heavyweight?
He's not a
What
heavyweight.
does he fight
He's
at?
weighing at 190 pounds. That's not a heavyweight.
No. No, how about he fights Steve Yzerman and we have a couple brewskis?
I like that. Yeah.
Yes.
How about fight Dana White? That would be the biggest fight ever.
Yes.
Dan still has to fight Dana
Imagine
White,
the
though.
numbers.
All right. So if Jake Paul fights at 190, then he's a cruiserweight. The number 10 cruiserweight, according to ESPN,
Rey
is a
Mysterio.
guy called Brandon Glanton. Get Brandon Glanton on the phone.
How boring would that
Brandon
be?
Glanton would knock him out in a
Get Jeremy
round.
Burnitz on the phone. Get Jeremy Burnitz. I don't want. I've heard of him.
Please, Guillermo, put this on the
I
poll.
love the idea of him fighting hockey players and former badass athletes.
At LeBatard Show on Twitter, Guillermo. Get Brandon Glinton on the phone. Yes or no?
Bob Probert.
You don't think Jake Paul versus Lance Stevenson would do major numbers?
Oh my God.
Ron Artest? What about Meta World Peace?
Wow.
I don't think
That'd
they.
be great.
I don't think they weigh out the same. Meta World Peace had him by a couple.
But wait a minute, way out the same. Hasn't Jake Paul been a good bit bigger than the people he's been fighting against?
No, they've been
physically?
getting the cruiserweight. Like, so here's the thing. Woodley fought at welterweight. He's fighting at 155 pounds, 170 pounds if you moved up. Like, that's 30 pounds heavier than what he's supposed to be fighting at. So he's going to be slower. He's going to be, not as good a shape as he used to be. So he's got to find somebody that's in his weight class.
So a guy who's you said has been washed for 10 years is fighting
5
30
years.
pounds
5
above
years.
his
Yes,
weight
yes.
is the reason why I need to care about
But
Jake
Whitty,
Paul.
But
Please.
Whitty, you don't need to care about Jake Paul, but your discerning doesn't matter here is what I'm saying. It's why I can't
So
ride with you.
upset.
It doesn't matter. What Chris and Tony and all, they win.
He's got enough people riding with him. He doesn't need you.
You
Again,
lose.
Sure,
I lose.
but he's not a good boxer.
But you
That's
don't
how-
actually care about boxing.
Yes,
Is the thing. You just
exactly.
care enough
Okay.
to be upset about Jake Paul.
No.
You couldn't even name boxers without googling. You don't care about boxing.
No, I
You
don't
just
care, but
that Jake
I do
Paul's making
care.
A joke of it.
Like, it's sport at the there's no other sport that we do this for. None.
But there's
if I said there's a celebrity football game at
Oh, I would
Hard,
watch.
Oh, I
at
love
Hard
that.
Rock
I'd be
Stadium
all
on
over
Saturday.
it.
No, you
Flag
wouldn't.
football,
They
yeah.
play
Talking
whenever
about.
they play whenever
Jake
you're
Paul
in the
playing?
Super
Have
Bowl.
you
You don't
seen
give
the
a
yeah.
shit.
softball
Pro Bowl's
game
good,
of
yeah.
Major League Baseball All-Star
Love
Weekend?
that
But
one.
there's
Get outta
probably
here.
some crappy 24-year-old that's 5-0 in his career that we don't know of yet. He's not on any of these rankings, but you don't dismiss that guy as being a
You
boxer,
just
up
got
and coming
dismissed,
boxer.
my friend. I just saw Chris Whittingham, and this is outrage. He whipped his arm and he gave you the back of his hand. If he had a fencing glove, he would have slapped you across the face
yeah,
with
he
it.
would've.
He just
Celebrity fencing would be dope.
Oh my God.
Cody's right. None of this means anything.
Yeah.
We're all gonna die.
Sports.
Eat
Why
at
do we
Arby's.
even bother?
we're all gonna die. Yeah, that's it. You guys have. It took all of this.
Yeah.
It took us to get to these holidays in the middle of another pandemic for you guys to look around and realize, wait a minute, this whole grift we've all got going on in the entertainment business, where people pay us to care about this stuff in a way that's really stupid. None of it matters because the oceans are climbing and hell has descended upon us.
Yeah.
And we've ruined the earth. So let's laugh the rest of the way and try to enjoy sports as we all realize that Jake Paul is
In any form.
Jake Paul is a representative of how we head straight into the apocalypse. Everyone grabbing at their little last bit of money and grift, however they can get it, as the YouTube channel and the streaming services and the cryptocurrency and everything means that the apocalypse is upon us and freedom and democracy are falling. And maybe our currency is too.
At least we have bowl games, Dan.
Oh, Bowl Mania's.
Bowl Mania is going crazy. Someone has 8 out of 8 of the picks correct right now.
No
in the
way.
LeBatard draft pool pick'em, which is crazy because the UAB BYU upset was huge. Billy, I heard a little birdie told me that you might have actually picked that. Is that true?
A little
It was
birdie.
me. I told you that.
Oh my God, that's
I
so
did.
true. You're the
Yeah.
birdie.
I'm the birdie that told you.
Wow.
Dan, did you have UAB? Huh?
Billy,
Did
tell
you
me
have one?
tell me what it is. You were boasting because you were in the top 5 in something, and you're not a
Oh,
you're
that's something else. That's something.
Well, but you're not
totally-
a-
Well,
you're not a boaster, and you
No,
care
I'm
about
not.
this deeply for some reason all of a sudden.
yeah. Well, technically, I am top 5. It says that I'm tied for 5th in this Bowl Mania as well, with 4 out of 8 correct, which is impossible because it just has 5th place because of the fact that there's a bunch of people tied for 3rd and 4th. We don't need to get into that, Dan. daily fantasy with DraftKings.
The best.
I'm not great at it. I don't know if you've heard. I've had my ups and downs, my ebbs and flows, if you will. We're all regularly finishing the 800s, the 700s. This week, there was a point
It's out of
in time
1,000.
where I was in third place. And then I fell back to earth and finished in 125th place. And maybe I was in third place because of a touchdown that ended up not being a touchdown, and it was quickly taken away. And then I fell back from third place to 7th place. But I ended up in 125th place. And the thing about it, Dan, I know that you're wondering, the thing about it that's most remarkable as I see it is that my best players, Kyler Murray, did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing for me. And I was stacking and I was doing those things that those fantasy people that were in here on Stupati last week were telling us to do. And you know what? I think I found my formula for success. It's just panic at the last minute and pick a couple people when you only have a couple shekels left. And then hopefully they make out at the end. And, you get your Brandon Cooks that'll get you 37 points or 32 points or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
It's a great pick by you, Billy.
Oh, I know. Thank you.
And you tried to stack Kyler Murray with AJ Green, which was a massive mistake. You would have won everything yesterday had you done differently. Like different quarterback, different wide receiver, you win it all. Any quarterback, any wide receiver. Yes.
I don't know. I ask you guys, and I've been asking you a form of this. I've sort of sat out the whole fantasy obsession. It has left
You're
me.
missing out.
I know.
Really
it has left me behind, obviously, and I have.
Your life must be miserable without fantasy.
Well, what I was thinking of is no, it's not miserable because so little of my life has what the last 2 minutes had in it, which is looking at the baby pictures someone else wants to show you, or the hugely uninteresting thing of let me tell you about my fantasy team, which is just Greg Cody narcissism 101. Like it just brings back a horror in me to think that your fantasy team or anybody's fantasy team is interesting. But again, I lose here.
You literally asked me to tell you about it.
I lose.
Also, download the DraftKings Sports app.
I asked you that. I asked you why you were boasting. I didn't know why you were going to give me every item, every syllable over 3 minutes of every move that you'd made, and I still don't understand whether or not you're good at this or not.
He's not. At around 4:20, he texted me his team, and he was on the verge of winning $80. But Billy always forgets the 4 o'clock games, the 8 o'clock game, the Monday doubleheader, the Tuesday doubleheader, the Sharks who come to these tournaments to try to take Billy's money. Like he always forgets that. So he felt good at around 4 because he was in like 5th place. That's because all his players had already played.
Stugotz, you play this every week. How do you not know that it's just the 1 and 4 o'clock games? Like Monday and Sunday night don't count. The Tuesday game doesn't count. It's a smaller pool.
No, Billy. There are many games where you could do the Sunday night game, the Monday night game,
but not ours.
Right?
Not
okay.
ours, yeah.
Well,
Dan, if you just do it this week.
Stugotz, you've rarely been exposed quite that thoroughly.
And I just had to eat it.
Where you just
right.
burped out I don't know what I'm talking about.
I finished
here.
in 5th place.
Okay, so please continue, Billy.
Dan, you just do it this week with us. Why don't you do it with us this week, please?
Yeah.
And then you'll see how fun it is. Come on,
I'll
this
be
week,
happy
it's
to do it with
Right.
you.
All right.
I did one for Dan. I made money for Dan. There was a D LeBatard in week 1. You said make an account for me and fill out a lineup, and I think I made you $10 that week.
Wow.
No, that's not how this counts, though.
that
Dan,
doesn't
you
work
have
that
to
way.
do it.
Dan has to
Yeah.
do it himself. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
it'll be fun,
No, but I
camaraderie.
asked Whitty for his help because I wanted to participate, and then I quickly got
Good cover, Dan.
distracted by other things.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just asked Whitty to, and I'm like, here, pick a team for me. And then he said, hooray, you won $12 or whatever. And then
He probably actually
you
said
excited?
hooray, right? He definitely said hooray.
I felt like I was totally dominating. I felt like I was from then on going to bankrupt DraftKings,
And you didn't get hooked?
I was going to win because I was going to win so much. Not selecting Duke Johnson in week 14 of an NFL season.
But if you had.
Oh, that's how you
Imagine
win
if
it,
you
Dan.
had. He only cost
That's how you win everything.
$4,000 on DraftKings.
Wow.
Imagine if you did.
It's like 8
Can't do
extra
it.
points.
Do it this week. dkng.co/LeBatard. Do it this week, Dan. Compete against
I
us.
will.
Just don't
Billy.
take players playing on Sunday or Monday nights.
Okay, Billy.
They won't be there.
I will participate.
Not allowed to.
And I'm not allowed to, or who's not allowed to?
They're not even an option.
Yeah. So guys, it's been 15 weeks. How did you not pick up on this?
And
no idea.
Billy, of the 15 weeks, how many weeks has he asked you, how do I enter this contest?
Every single week he asks me, how do I enter? Can you send me the link? Where it's like, just sign in and you could do it yourself. Yeah. And then he always asks me, where did I finish? It's like, I don't know. I'm not going to scroll through 1,000 names. Just go on your app and you can see where you finished. It's 2 buttons.
I'm trying to have an enjoyable experience with my friend, keep the conversation going. I mean,
but you're not.
hurt now,
but you're not putting any kind of effort into it.
No, I'm not. No.
Like,
I pay $3. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
It's effort. What are you doing?
And if you won 12, that's 4 times the amount that you invested. Imagine, had you invested $1 million that week, you would have won $4 million.
Did you just say under your breath at me, it's effort? What are you doing? What I'm doing is not pretending that I'm in a contest. And what I'm doing is not.
Oh, I'm in it.
And is bold-faced fraudulent where
I've won money. I mean,
but you don't know what you're doing. You don't know anything about this tournament. You've won money in your private fantasy leagues. And yes. I want to ask the question again. Maybe, Mike, maybe you can explain it to me, because it's not like our show over the last 10 years has taken any advantages in the audio space of what to do with this fantasy obsession that has grabbed everybody and made football an even bigger sport than it was 10 years ago.
I cannot wait to go head to head with you, Dan LeBatard. I'm going to drag you.
Yeah.
Week 16. Now that Duke Johnson has signed a full-time contract,
I'm getting
Miami
into
Dolphins,
it right now. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I'm dragging you into the deep water.
Yes.
Friend.
I don't mind. I am going to pick my own team. I'm going to pick sleepers all over the league. I am going to dominate COVID injury laundry football at the very end, where you're always just guessing because everyone on the field isn't actually a professional football player.
I'm going to have you screaming to the heavens. Why, Chris Boswell? Why?
I had Trevor Lawrence yesterday.
This is a running back named Jeff that's going to make or break your season.
Yeah.
I want a funnier thing that has happened in football. I have not been watching this than the entire makeshift weirdness of what the Ravens have been trying to do at running back since this season of attrition started, where they're dragging all of these people from a haunted past and putting them in their backfield. Every broken dude. The running back has become so disposable so quickly that the Ravens look like a great rushing attack even when Snoop Huntley is back there.
Oh, he's good, Dano.
He really is.
He just made the next decade for himself in 2 games. The Bears game and this game. He's already made his backup QB resume for the next 15 years.
He's Ben a starter. Axelrod had him yesterday. Yeah. That's how he won.
That's how you win these leagues, Dan, just so you know. Yeah.
Thank you, Stugotz.
Little sleeper.
Again, you're passing yourself off as some sort of expert when you don't.
Won some money.
So have I through Whittingham. I think
I did it myself. It feels better. I mean,
it doesn't. To ask Billy for the link every week, it feels better to you, does it?
The Ravens are down to their 7th.
You have to budget. You have $50,000 to budget amongst like 8 people or 9 people. It's very difficult, very challenging.
The Ravens are down to their 6th and 7th and 8th string running backs. If you think about it, they lost their first 4 string running backs, and they signed Devontae Freeman, who was washed 5 years ago, Le'Veon Bell, who's washed God only knows how long, and Latavius Murray. That's their 3-headed monster, and they cut Le'Veon Bell, I think.
I wonder, and this is a discomfort that's always present around this, because we're laughing about the insanity of what your Sundays are. These bigger, stronger, faster human beings in these tight spaces playing with precision, and it's incredibly violent, and they're trying to navigate the CTE stuff, and they want to navigate and cover up and camouflage prayer circle, ambulance, guy on the field, and yesterday, look, it's not one of the random ones. It's one that I have feelings about that isn't hidden behind a face mask and as disposable as all the rest of the bodies. I know Teddy Bridgewater's story. He's one of the good ones. He's one of the pillars. I've known him since college. This is one of the guys who makes me care is human underneath these. They're interchangeable uniforms, Stugotz. Like, it's all laundry we're watching now. That's a mess of football that we saw yesterday. Just a giant mess of attrition beyond the pale because you've got injuries, unhealthy sport, and now also COVID. which makes you talk about the sanctity, Whittingham, of the sport or the sport integrity. What you're watching now is just random measurements of nothing as teams fall apart physically, break, just trying to get to the end of the money at the end of the TV contracts. How do we get there? Please let us have another sacred season of football that doesn't get crippled by the pandemic the way the other economies in sports have.
And somehow not even the sport right now that is kind of most bastardizing itself, because that's the NBA. There were 5 games canceled on Sunday because of COVID or postponed. The Heat lost to the 4-24 Pistons, basically because their entire team is out. And it's, can you feel the team? That's what it is in the Premier League right now. That's what it is in the NBA right now. It's, can you feel the team? Get out there. Every sport is being bastardized by Omicron right now.
And you're saying that, and you get the laugh out loud, writes itself comedy of Kyrie Irving will come back for road games because the Nets don't have enough players, and then he immediately tests positive for COVID. Now he just goes into, basically now they've got to pay him for a bunch of stuff because now I don't know how much he actually has to play. If he could just sort of litigate this, okay, now I'm on your roster and I immediately give you nothing and I've got to go sit out for a while for health concerns. Like, you can't, I'm now here. I can't imagine what the legal fight over his money is going to look like now.
Open up your third eye, Dan. Kyrie got the ball moving, knowing damn well he had COVID. He didn't want to have to pass 5 tests. So he's only got to pass 2 now. I guarantee you he's going to be back before 5 days. It is a heady play from Kyrie Irving.
No doubt.
So you're saying he tested positive for COVID, then said, now I'm going to come back because it's an easier protocol than if he didn't have COVID. Wow, that's some galaxy brain stuff.
He only has to provide 2 days worth of negative tests as opposed to 5. I think Kyrie knew damn well he was positive before he entered the testing regimen.
Can you get the Mike Ryan exclusive over there?
That's next level, man.
Well, he came in and he's like, open your third eye, and he said it in a creepy voice, and he's off in the distance, and the holidays have been ruined again. Another set of holidays have been ruined, and if he were here in the studio, he would have given people right there a Mike Ryan exclusive.
That or Kyrie's just a dummy.
Yep.
Seems the more likely option.
Also, I want to walk that back. I'm going to stop calling the unvax. I don't know if you saw the statement from the White House, but it kind of felt really icky. It was like a page out of the Trump playbook. Vaccinated or unvaccinated, we're all kind of testing positive right now. I think the time for like division should be done. So Kyrie, test negative so we can come out and enjoy you every other game.
Another set of holidays has been ruined, and it's all our divisions have sprouted nothing other than death and more division. And we're 2 years past. Like, let's stop all of this. Everyone's getting sick, and some of us are dying at a disproportionate mathematical rate. Like, we don't need to keep arguing about science or freedom or masks or anything else. It's returned. I think everyone listening to this is having the same experience I am, which is, oh, wait, now everyone's got it. Now I've got all sorts of people. Everyone I know is testing positive right and left.
If I may, this may be considered political, but I'm not being political here with this. This is something that I was really hoping to turn to the new president for leadership. Our world was kind of burning over the weekend. And there was nothing. There was absolutely no leadership, no adult in the room. There was just silence. There was a statement saying we'd get to it on Tuesday. What are we doing that for? The stock market? By Tuesday, I don't know if I'm going to get to enjoy the holidays or not. A lot of people felt misled just because of early messaging. What the science said and what the messengers said was different. I understand that. But I really could have used some soothing over the weekend. I didn't get it.
Soothing, and look, we try and provide an outlet, but soothing for a man who's trying to publicly get on the ground in Kentucky because we've had another horrific climate control catastrophe where you have to ask yourself where is safe and what's coming next with what it is that we have done to the earth. The absence of leadership is profound, and whatever your politics, we have gotten the leadership.
Right, but Dan, and I'm sorry, I know that's a good reason, and that should be a priority. But a president can address two things at once. As well as they handled the distribution of the vaccine, testing is a disaster. I have 3 tests that I bought at a CVS that I was lucky enough to find. They got pulled and recalled. I can't actually count on those tests. The testing is not free. We're all looking for answers right now. This was supposed to change at the top. I'm not desperate for answers.
I'm not excusing an absence of leadership. I'm saying it's profound across all political parties and all of the divisions. It's a fairly consistent thing. We have been absent leadership in this country in a way that makes it feel like it's all spinning out of control, even though we have all the money in the world, all the means in the world. And it doesn't matter who the leader is, all of them fail.
I mean, we're also trying to find answers for something that is pretty much unanswerable at the moment. We thought that the vaccines are going to be our way out of this. And
well, they still are.
Well, right. They are to preventing serious illness and preventing death. But we thought that the vaccines were going to prevent a spread of the disease again and a feeling that you're not going to test positive anymore. I don't know. I mean, the medical community has always been very careful about, the panacea that they were offering, but that's what it felt like, that the light at the end of the tunnel was the vaccine. And a year later, the fact that it's not, in terms of, being able to live life normally, to not feel like everyone that has COVID or fearing it, that's disappointing. But I also think that because this is a new variant that's like 3 weeks old, nobody has answers right now. And that's the thing that's frustrating. People get nihilistic about is nobody knows anything. And that's really disappointing and difficult to figure out.
I will say, like, one of the things that's given me optimism as my Christmas once again looks to be getting canceled at the last minute because of COVID is that a year ago, I was afraid to see my parents because if they got COVID, I was afraid they were going to die or at least be hospitalized. And this year, most of my family, I would say probably all of my family is vaccinated and has gotten the booster shot. So it's just a huge inconvenience. And I'd rather be inconvenienced than be afraid that my family members are going to get severely ill or die from it.
Right. I just want to know, like, what are the parameters? What's the advice? Do I open windows? Do I only hang out with vaccinated folks? The only statement that I got was, we'll talk to you Tuesday, and the unvaxxed are headed towards a winter of despair. I want more. I want direction. I want hope.
Yeah, I got you. I think like what I've heard from Fauci and read from other epidemiologists is just that, like, the rules still apply. If you feel sick and you're vaccinated, get tested, isolate for 7 to 10 days if you have COVID, prepare yourself if that's, if you need to buy over-the-counter medicine or figure out who's going to buy your groceries for you or take your dog out or whatever. The best thing to do is just, get tested if you can. If you feel sick, don't go to work. If you can take off work. Like the problem is that it's not just the unvaccinated, it's the people who can't take off time from work to get tests, or people who can't take off work to get vaccinated, or people who are working in jobs where they're in close quarters and we're lucky that we can work remotely when we have to, but it's really like the service industry and the essential workers who are the ones who are going to face the brunt of this wave. We're just all deeply inconvenienced by it.
You have the unvaccinated, and I don't think anyone accounted for this, just how many people were unwilling to get vaccinated, right? Then you have the vaccinated who are getting tired of the unvaccinated and tired of taking a test every time their nose runs. Like, they're just tired of doing it and they don't want to test. And Mike, you say you want more info. I'm perfectly fine. You got more, Mike, not the information you wanted, but I'm fine waiting until Tuesday. We have more football. I have a doubleheader today, and I have a doubleheader on Tuesday.
And
I'll sit around in my house and wait around until he speaks.
And Mario Chalmers is back. Mario Chalmers is making his return. Thank you, Stugotz, for nothing. Chris Cody, was it a funny weekend? Did it have a good amount of funny in it?
Give it a 7.1.
All right, thank you. A very specific fraction there. Let's go to Tony. What was the funniest thing from the sports weekend, Tony?
Dan, as you were, I was watching Red Zone, late 4 p.m. window, and all of a sudden, a hostage video was shown on the screen. Davis Mills with the overhead light and a very hostage, like he was taken from somewhere, sequestered even. The hostage video with the overhead light was the funniest thing for me.
This decimated football weekend had it so that I heard the conversation initiated by Scott Hansen. Has Davis Mills secured a future in this decimated league by having a couple of games in the replacement of Tyrod Taylor?
I have to be honest, this is why I hold Tua to such a high standard. Because like you've said, you can get a lot of quarterbacks to 16 for 27 with 193 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Like, the number of quarterbacks that have turned in decent performances, like Tyler Huntley all of a sudden is being discussed for a starting job next year.
Snoop.
But I think he's just going to be a decent backup. Like, the number of quarterbacks you can get to do what Davis Mills did yesterday for the Texans is probably in the 40s.
Except shocking, Trevor Lawrence might not be among them.
He stinks.
That's
What
it?
happened?
You're willing to call it?
Well, he's stunk. He's stunk so far. I'm not like him. I'll give him year 2 and not Urban Meyer, but oof, it's been bad.
Smart football people are telling me Davis Mills, not bad. Smart football people have said it.
Wait a minute.
Smart
Wait a
football
minute.
people have said it.
Wait a
Yeah, smart
minute.
people have
Wait
said
a minute.
Davis
Billy-
Mills, not bad.
Billy, do you have anything to say here?
Who are these people that have told you this? Who are
They're
these smart
sources.
football
I
people?
can't burn
All
a
right,
source.
this-
Are
you-
they sources that have told you, or you saw this on TV somewhere?
I
'Cause
saw it
that's
on
not
Twitter,
telling you.
TV, but it's still
Tony,
sources.
you know
I wanna
what? You're
protect
going to
the
have to
sources.
walk to the ocean, Tony. Get out of here.
Come on.
Get out of here.
It was Chris Long.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
He's a video guy, so he has to videotape himself.
Just cite the Chris Long podcast and give him a plug. Why did you do it the way you
Mina
did
also
it?
might have said Davis Mills was good.
Go
Mina.
to the ocean. Get out of here.
18 college passing touchdowns in
Go-
13 games.
Walk through the COVID and go to the ocean.
That Stanford team was bad, though. I'll give him a chance.
Chris, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
UFC heavyweight champion Derek Lewis was fighting, and after the fight, he won. And I saw him throw an object into the crowd, and I was like, people are nominating this for funniest, so it has to be maybe his mouthpiece. That's gross. Who would want that? And then I learned it wasn't his mouthpiece. It was his cup.
Ooh, a heavyweight
Ugh.
swampy cup.
That's right. And then the camera followed it, and some guy running away, very pleased to have the cup.
Oh, God. I mean, that's a heavyweight swampy. That is a moist cup,
Yes.
right? Because he doesn't fight very long fights, but I imagine still it's got to get damp under there. And is he now the knockout champion in the sport?
Close. He's had like 7 knockouts the last 10 fights.
I mean, who would want to fight him?
Jake Paul would.
No, he would no.
That's where he draws the line.
No, he would not. Whittingham, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Yesterday at Jets Dolphins, they cut to the crowd because it was a time for an in-stadium proposal, except only the woman was there. The man was not to be found. And so there was a woman who finds out that she's being proposed to on the Jumbotron without the man there.
And was there an explanation? Was there follow-up reporting? So was it a scared groom, a runaway groom, or just he was in the bathroom?
I
and,
just have him getting beer.
okay, just getting a beer. Oh, those are such bad proposals.
I asked Greg Cody about this, who was on site at the Dolphins game, and I got yelled at last night for petering out and for explaining it poorly.
That was on my dad. You asked him a question, and he could have said more words. He didn't see it, but he was just like, no.
Jessica, this is the thing about Greg Cody that has become more and more puzzling as he ages stubbornly. Greg Cody isn't ever thinking about anyone other than himself. So when you ask him that question, and he has been reporting on site, and you're asking him as a reporter to give you insight, he's answering it as a doddering old man who's forgotten that he's live on anything.
And a few beers deep.
Well, this is the
probably.
other thing. You've noticed this, right, Chris? Your father is appreciably worse somehow late at night. Not late at night, I mean 8 p.m. I don't mean 3 a.m.
He's a morning man.
I mean, your father, we're getting the best of your father. That is your father soaring into the day as
and he's late every week.
as a maximum professional. Let's go out here. Jessica, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
So Coastal Carolina, Dan, in the bowl game, the Cure Bowl against Northern Illinois, has a coach that looks like Chris Cody. I believe his name is Chad Staggs, the defensive coordinator. And someone tweeted at us and said, first Chris Cody gets sponsored by Sheets and Giggles. Now he's coaching in a bowl game. What can't this guy do? And Sheets and Giggles quote tweeted it and said, an ad read.
Wow.
It's funny because he can't.
Laughing all the way to the bank, that guy. You're welcome.
That's Chris Cody on behalf of Sheets and Giggles.
Presented by
Sheets and Giggles. I will never say
That was
that.
brought to you by.
I
Chris-
slept in my
Chris-
Sheets and Giggles for the first time last night. Let me tell you, those are some comfortable sheets. And I'm not angling for a sponsorship here,
Whoa,
but Chris,
she's horning
you're in bed with a
on
good
your-
one.
She's horning in on your stuff. They are comfortable sheets, and it's
So good.
easy. They just come to you in a box, and it's very easy.
So
No
Chris,
sheet.
so Chris, which is it? Are you
Brought-
brought to you by? Are you presented by?
He shouldn't be either of these things. This is cheapening to our entire brand.
I like presented by.
Billy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Dan, yesterday in the middle of the Jaguars-Texans game, in a play that resulted in a James Robinson touchdown, there was a Jaguars fan just hopping around in the end zone, unbothered, which, by the way, I was thinking about this after the fact. Had Trevor Lawrence seen him, would it not have been great if he would have just thrown the guy a pass wide open in the end zone? I mean, what difference does it make at this point in the
I
season
know,
anyways?
you're so
for that?
right. And the Jags really, that when I think of the Jags, I think sense of humor. I think a whole season of merriment and mirth. And yeah, why wouldn't Trevor Lawrence just drop back to pass? And as people are trying to kill him and everyone's laughing at him and dismissing him as a failure and a bust, why wouldn't he just, have a little fun with it and throw it to that fan in the end zone?
I mean, if he can't see someone that wide open in the end zone, Dan, there's issues.
Yeah. If he did throw it to that fan, it would have been his first touchdown pass since November 28th.
Wow. I have a follow-up, by the way, on the proposal. It says here, this is from Connor Hughes, who covers the Jets for The Athletic. The guy returned to his seat several minutes later. They cut back to the two. The girl already had the ring on her finger. They were talking. The guy was wearing exactly what you would expect someone who did a scoreboard proposal at a December football game to wear.
It is. Put it on the poll, please, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Stadium proposal, lame or romantic? Stugotz, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
For me, Dan, it was Frank Gore's face before getting punched.
And what was it? It was. You're right. I believe you have won, and I don't know. Does it speak to something visceral and barbaric in all of us that we just sort of understood? Oh my God! If Frank Gore, given what we know about him, 20 years in the football, running 3.5 yards at a time, body made of bowling ball parts. If that guy's in there and he appears to be totally horrified at the predicament he has found himself in by his own choosing, you can see it on his face. Oh my God, what have I done? Darren Williams is a basketball player. He is strong too. I've been training.
He's got reach.
I've been training, but this is terrifying. That's all on his face, correct? it's how all of
Everything you just said was on his
but
face.
Frank
yes.
Gore is braver than all of us. He's tougher than all of us. If it's that scary to him, should we not all be scared?
You could see processing on his face. Oh, this guy's going to punch me again. He's just going to keep punching me.
And I'm not going to see it coming.
Yeah.
And Woody says it's not real. Give me a break. Not real boxing. Okay, buddy.
I wanted to talk about something from the world of funny instead of just selecting something from the weekend that was funny. And quietly, Stugotz, I think quietly, Louis C.K. began his comeback this weekend. Louis C.K. on his website for $10. And before all this happened with Louis C.K., he was at the front end of realizing that he could go direct to his customers, go direct to his fan base, and just ask them for money and charge them. He was really doing something creative with his funny, in that he was trying to go direct to consumer without a lot of middlemen and just make the transaction a more personal one. This is now dangerous around Louis C.K., a more intimate one. He was trying to be an artist who could be the everyman from his television show to his comedy, is one of the signature greats at the sculpting of this craft. And his career, I thought if anyone would be qualified enough to get out of that situation with funny, if it was possible to get out of a situation in the Me Too time of being somebody who is deviant and uses his power over women in a way that is creepy. If there's anyone who could somehow find the funny of that and try to get back into the return, it would be him. And he's done some work on his act in some clubs, and some of the act has gotten out as he's tried to practice whatever this is on his website titled Sorry. And I want to listen to it, and I will support it because I want to hear what he has to say, and I want to hear the comedy of, he's titling it Sorry. Has he found a place in the examination of his life over the last few months to understand how creepy and weird that was? And will he find the funny in it, or will he be persecuted? Will he be a victim? Will he be defensive? I want to know what Louis C.K. has to say, and I will give the $10 directly to him in order to hear it.
Well, I do want to ask you, because you said the word support. I feel like that's probably too strong of a word.
But if you pay, you are supporting, are you not? If you pay,
yes.
If you are willing to pay, that's all I mean by that.
Yeah. Okay. So, because this is a comedian who's managed to negotiate doing a whole bit about the N-word once before and not be canceled for it. So you're right. He's very skilled at that. But man, it's just, I think there are certain people who have done certain things in the Me Too era that are just simply indefensible, irredeemable, and I'll go the opposite way and say, like, I'm not at all interested in this guy's comeback. But I understand. I just want to like make sure you're not supporting Louis C.K. You're buying this thing.
I'm not. Look,
You're curious.
I'm not sitting here making an argument on behalf of degrees of sexual assault or sexual crimes. No, I'm not arguing that what Louis C.K. did is in some way forgivable, and therefore I applaud his return because we should all get second chances and not be defined by our worst shit. No, I'm not making any of those arguments. I'm simply saying that by paying those $10 directly to Louis C.K., I am supporting his work and his comedy and my curiosity, and whatever moral decisions are made with money are not being made with those $10. That is the support, because the money's going directly to him. It's not, he's trying to make a comeback. He's not going to have anyone support his comeback. As, Mel Gibson still works, but there's not going to be a company. He's got to rehab himself from here. It's one of the reasons that I'm interested in him, and he can only do it if the public then supports the work, the comedy. And I don't know how many people will support him just because they want, I don't know how many people will give him $10 at a time to believe in the idea that Louis C.K. can then be resuscitated in a way that corporations could say, well, that was an interesting time back then, and we can indeed forgive X, Y, and Z. Kevin Spacey he's not going to make that comeback. Like, will Louis C.K. be able to do comedy that is mass consumed again is a curiosity I have that I'm willing to spend $10 on heading down the journey. You're willing to boycott your dollars? Is there a comedian?
He doesn't care enough, I think.
I was actually a massive Louis C.K. fan before all this happened. I'm on all those email lists, and I feel icky when I get those emails. Because he's been sending those emails for a long time, like these kind of meandering messages about what's happened to him and all this stuff. It's been a long time. I mean, it's been 2 or 3 years since those accusations came out. He's been trying. But no, I'm out. I'm out. Maybe something creeps into social media. Maybe somebody writes about him. Maybe he does a long profile where he finally acknowledges he was wrong, because every apology has been circumspect. It's not been direct. It's not been, I'm terrible. That was terrible. Why did I do that? But yeah,
well, it's interesting that you say that, Whittingham, because I look for it in the art, in all of these difficulties that people have with the moralities of separating art from artist. What I want to hear from him is what he's crafted over the last 2 years, funny introspectively. Will it be self-absorbed? Will he try to do the doubling down that Chappelle does, that you can do with ego when you're not looking in some places, and you want the art to speak on your behalf. The work, you want the work. The comedians at the highest form of doing this they sculpt those things. Louis C.K. has had 2 years creating in what must be a hole. Like that can't, and I am not making him a victim. It just can't feel good to have been whatever it is the punishment was, to have that in public and just have the respect for you and anything that resembled a career that was on an upward trajectory. It can't feel good to be in the place. What will that birth from one of the great comedians of our time?
But
what does sorry say is what I'm curious about as a man who really enjoys the sculpting of stand-up comedy, because I think those people are so brave and what they do is so hard, and the very best of them are making art that's vulnerable, that comes often from a painful place. Louis C.K. was one of the best. I want to know the crisis of his life, the worst time in his life. What does the art birth?
But he's been like, I think Chappelle is the example of like why I'm not into this, because Chappelle in his second special basically just got defensive and started doing the cancel culture tropes that are so lame to me. Like, take no responsibility for your words. And so I think it's very easy for someone who has achieved as much and has insulated through, what you said, which is that he became someone who just wanted to do theaters that would buy directly from his customers. And he went direct to consumer before a lot of people did. That he's kind of, I'm going to go take my fan base over here. I'm going to blame everyone else. I'm not going to take responsibility for being a shitty person to women. I'm not going to take responsibility for my awful actions and make this about me instead of making this about them, which I think is the point. It's the victims who have everything to do with what's happened here, not Louis C.K. And unless he just kind of throws himself on the sword, which I don't know how you can make that compelling. I just I don't know what the answer is here.
Yeah, and those victims aren't going to be making a payday off of it. Like, he's going to be continuing to use what he can, like, the misconduct that he did to make himself money and make content out of it. The title of the thing is sorry. Like, this entire thing's going to be about himself. I file this under something that I don't even want to give oxygen to or tweet about or talk about, because all it does is make him more money, and that's not something that I support.
I don't blame anybody for taking the stance that just outlined, but I also don't really fault anyone for being curious to see exactly how one of the greatest comedic minds prior to that controversy approaches his cancellation. For me, I just don't care anymore. That's what canceling is to me. Like, there have been plenty of musicians that I used to love that got caught up in Me Too, and I just don't feel like listening to them anymore. I don't really feel like listening to what Louis C.K. has to say, so I won't go out and seek it. I don't judge anyone, though, that goes out and seeks it. I would be a little curious, too, I guess, to hear from others as to how it went, but me, myself, I'd just rather do other things.
Stugotz, you got an opinion here?
I don't know. I am, and the reason I don't, although it's a very interesting conversation, is I'm feeling.
You're glad we're having it?
I'm glad we're having it. Someone has to have it. I'm feeling terrible for Mike and for my fantasy team that Nick Mullins is the Browns starting quarterback. I mean, no Baker, no Case Keenum.
5 p.m. Cleveland Browns tonight. What is the point spread in that game?
I don't know.
I'm sure it was off the board until this new deadline came in. But yes, so they delayed the game till Monday. In that span, they got 3 guys back and lost 2 guys to the COVID list. So a net gain of 1 player with a delay.
Does anyone care that we are really substantively distorting the ways we do the measurements on this and the crass getting to the money? And Duke Johnson is your leading, your leading story in South Florida. Yes, the Dolphins have signed him. And I actually called Mike. I haven't done this in a while during a Sunday game. And he just answers the phone with, between the tackles? Like Duke Johnson between the tackles, like
Running dudes over,
it's
stiff arming.
It's not just Duke Johnson back in the league and ending the Jets season and the Dolphins climbing back, inching back to relevancy through a pandemic, 6 straight wins with people chanting Duke in the stadium.
Stefanski didn't test out of the protocols either.
Oh, Jesus.
He had COVID. He was fully vaccinated. He got boosted. He didn't have any symptoms, and he is not coaching.
So Baker is my fantasy quarterback. I made the mistake of not picking up anyone else, thinking Baker would be fine by Monday, and if not, I'd get Case Keenum. And now I have to pick up Nick Mullins. What a disaster.
I don't like that we do the thing at stadiums for just the ooh names. I know because it sounds like boo. Like, right? If it sounds like a boo, so it's Lou, Scoop. Like, how come they don't do that? Carl. Like, how come we only do this for names that sound like ooh?
Gary.
Like, right? Like, I just don't understand. It feels like it's not fair.
It's you think it's not fair.
Kyle. See the whole, like, whatever name it is, we could chant it as
Bimmel.
Bimmel. Now we're just naming metal artists.
Carl Gary Bimmel.
Oh, yeah.
Laura.
How would you handle Kristaps Porzingis?
Krista. Like,
But have you not just articulated in the last minute why we only do it for the U names? Because it sounds way better.
It's late. Does it?
Yeah.
I think Kyle would sound great with an entire stadium. Kyle. Obviously, I sound ridiculous doing it by myself. I'm saying
Let's
if
do
it's
it together.
All right, let's all
give
do
us
it.
one.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
give
yeah.
us one.
Which one?
Let's do
Let's
Kyle,
see
let's
if
do
it-
Kyle together.
You pick whatever you want. I'm going to give you a second to gather yourself and allow you a moment to think. I know this is dangerous sometimes.
I'm already
with
got
you.
it. Don't need any more time.
Okay, very good.
Wow.
Tell us what it is that we're going to do together here.
Well, you know, there's a pass. It's that hut down the Kyle Rudolph goes down the sideline. 30 yards downfield. Kyle Rudolph catches it, gets tackled. The whole crowd goes, Kyle. No, we're doing Kyle.
I would do
Okay.
Rue,
No,
though. I
Let's
would
do Rue first. Let's
Yeah,
try
Rue.
Rue
Let's
first.
do
Because
Rue.
that sounds like boo.
No, but it's Rue.
But
doing it again.
But I thought we were testing.
We're testing which one sounds
one
I
better.
think in that
better.
instance, you don't do Rue because that's what everyone else would do. Let's
Right.
do Kyle.
No, we get it, but let's try Rue first
Yeah,
and then
let's
try
do Rue.
Fine,
Kyle.
but we know that'll sound good. It sounds like boo.
Okay, so you're putting down your sword before we even test your
I
experiment.
want to try new things. We're playing the hits here.
Those aren't boos, those are
All right,
Rues.
there's Kyle Rudolph. He did Rue. See, that sounds good.
It does sound
Damn
good.
it.
That's a good one.
Why did I pick
No,
Rudolph?
let's do this.
Damn it.
I don't need a minute to think. I got
I got
it.
it. I got it.
I don't need a second to
Try
think.
it with Carlos Boozer.
Los.
Tingles.
Billy.
That would work. I feel like that would work.
Bill. I think just a gill. Just a gill.
Gil instead of Bill.
Ooh, Bill would be good.
Billy.
Oh, a chanting, a haunting, yes, a haunting chant. Well, this
Used to do that for Billy Smith back in the day. Islanders goalie, 4 straight Stanley Cups.
this
Named my cat after him.
Thank you. Okay.
Cat died.
Schmitty, yeah, he died.
Sorry about that.
Thanks, Bill.
That concludes
On which life?
Stugotz being able to talk hockey.
Sure, I think it was the 7th. Yeah.
Let us begin then with Billy, because Billy the Duke has had, after being ranked 6th in the world by
Mm-hmm.
The Guardian, Football Insider, Billy Gill has had a year that has not quite risen to the level of number 6 internationally in the World Insider. But today,
What are you talking about?
Today he is posing a question that I believe will get him back and climbing in the rankings. It's a question that I don't think anyone else is asking. Never mind about that fun Baltimore Green Bay game, but just in general about the Harbaughs and something no one else is considering as it regards the Ravens and Harbaugh. The Ravens are so close to being 10-4, and Billy's got a question as an insider I don't hear Rappaport or anyone else bringing up, which is, Billy?
Is it possible that John Harbaugh just wanted to go home yesterday?
And go home 2 out of the last 3 weeks. He did against the Steelers too.
Yeah, doesn't want to play around, doesn't need to go to OT. Let's just get home, okay? It's holiday time. I don't know where he is on his shopping list right now. Maybe he has some things he needs to catch up on. Yeah, he has all those post-game responsibilities with press conferences and the like. He just wanted to get home. Listen, we're going to win or we're going to lose. Let's just do this right now. We don't need to drag this out. What if we go back into like, I punt to you, you punt to me. We spend 10 more minutes in overtime. Then, God forbid, there's a tie. No one can figure out how those things work. So let's either win or lose right now and get on with our lives.
You're saying it's not analytics. It's not high stakes. It's just I'd really like to get home and heat up that meatloaf that was left over from last night.
Is that what you have him doing when he gets home?
Meatloaf is going to go bad.
Heating up some meatloaf.
Just I need to get home. Well, they were in Green Bay, so I guess they had to fly afterward.
Listen to me. This isn't something that was completely unfounded, I'll have you know. I listened to the post-game sound. I sent it away to Whitty. Maybe we can get the sound here. I believe that there may be something to the fact that he just wanted to get home, and this was not strictly based on numbers. When we play the sound, listen to this and tell me that you think that this is strictly based on the numbers, because I was not convinced.
Well, you know what? I have not heard this sound, so I'm looking forward to hearing it.
By the way, the game was in Baltimore, so that meatloaf was not very far away.
Okay, the game was in Baltimore.
Yes,
I thought that game was in Green Bay. My
just
bad.
wanted to get home, I'm telling you.
It was a bad job by Harbaugh.
So he didn't get home to his meatloaf, but it's funny that you should say that, Billy, because I did have that thought in a game that didn't have stakes yesterday, which is while I was watching Jacksonville, Houston, and as Jackson, I'm going to tell you why in a second. I'm going to tell you why in just a second.
Have the over?
No. There were no betting reasons. It's just sort of scrolling across, and every once in a while, it's going to end up in the red zone. But I had a feeling that I don't often have with football on Sundays that speaks to what it is that Billy's talking about, which is as the Jags have gone through the particular hell that their season has been, and as Houston, loses Deshaun Watson, and then just Bill O'Brien, just what's happened to Houston? DeAndre Hopkins, Mike is telling me last night, he might already be on the decline. The DeAndre Hopkins, it's all over. JJ Watt's no longer in Houston. Houston, I'm watching that game. Those two, Davis Mills is out there. It's just a waste of everybody's time, the whole thing. And then it starts raining, and I imagine that it's cold. And I'm like, oh, nobody wants to be out there anymore. None of those people want to be out there doing, not love of sport, love of job, love of paycheck. Like all of those people would like very much to go home.
Just lashing rain in Jacksonville.
It's just unpleasant.
Deeply unpleasant.
In December, it's a cold rain. It's got to be a cold rain, right? It can't be a warm rain. It's not, it's just.
You never know. I mean, April showers bring May flowers, Dan. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Billy. That's very helpful. It's why you're one of the great insiders internationally throughout the world, because you say things like that rhyme. Chris, do you have the sound that Billy speaks of?
Yeah, I'm just going to try to get the win right there. In overtime, I think our chances of winning right there were a little bit higher than in overtime, maybe, if you calculate it out.
It sounds like a man who just wanted to go home.
No, but that sounded like a probability he was citing.
He said maybe. There's some maybes in there.
Let me hear it again. Let's see if this maybe means anything.
Yeah, I'm just going to try to get the win right there. In overtime, I think our chances of winning right there were a little bit higher than in overtime, maybe, if you calculate it out.
Maybe. That maybe really hurts his
I think and maybe.
I mean, Mike Vrabel would have stayed there all night. He would have.
Stugotz has been percolating on wanting to rip Harbaugh for this. If I hear him during the commercial
Now,
breaks.
listen,
he spit something during this.
I said Harbs, terrible job. Listen, when you're up 14 or down 14 in the case of the Ravens, and you have your backup quarterback, okay, and you fight all the way back against a really good team and a really good defense, and you get it to 31-30, do me a favor. Stay the extra 15 minutes. Kick the extra point, go to overtime, and try to get your team a much-needed win. No, you have to.
Stugotz, the last
that quarterback's playing so good, you get the ball first, you get your 7-game over.
Stugotz, the defense has been...
Howard, he lost. I mean,
yeah, there it is. Stugotz, they've been bad at defense the last month.
Right.
Like bad.
Not playing against Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
If I said you can boil a game against Aaron Rodgers down to getting 2 yards, and you have Tyler Huntley. If I said that to you before the game, you wouldn't want that?
No, I would want overtime. Okay. You're down 14 to Aaron Rodgers in that defense, and Huntley fights really hard, plays really well. Okay, gets you back to a 31-30 spot. You have a chance to win the game.
What do you think Huntley wants there, Stugotz? What do you think Huntley wants?
Harbaugh was asking them. I was lip reading during the time. They took a timeout. They took a timeout. They're like, "What do you want to do here?" And I think Huntley was like, "Is there a play where I can throw the ball to Andrews?" I like that one. Because like that's all they did. That's all they did for the last quarter of the game. But they asked Huntley, like, what do you want to do here? I think he wanted to go for it.
That's what do you think?
He probably wanted to go for it. I'd go to overtime and take my chances with Huntley, who's playing well, or with the greatest kicker who's ever lived.
So
that's what I would do. So you're
with Parcells and Jimmy Johnson on, I'm not here for all these guys going for it on fourth down, because Brandon Staley is now my new favorite coach because he's doubled down on this is how we're going to do things around here.
Dan, I'm just saying you can't always go with a chart, okay? I realize they have a probability chart, but how about trust your gut once in a while?
Okay.
This is Harbaugh trusting his gut. His gut is go for two.
He said better percentage, maybe.
Hollywood Brown was open in the back of the end zone. Huntley just didn't see him.
Billy, I have had enough of your How is Tony still here?
Dan, because nobody else can run the video.
Yeah, it's Difficult. This Staley, by the way, is one or two cute little moves away from being unemployed.
That's right.
Just win some games already. Enough of these cute little moves every single week, and then you explain to us after the fact why it should have worked out. Make it work, okay, Staley? I know you're super smart. How about be smart and get some W's? Enough already with him. Right.
It's so good, Stugotz, that the Chargers are that close to being atop the division. Like if that
just kick some field goals and you could be at the top of the division.
I know.
It's
exactly right. And the Ravens too.
Withstood
top of the conference.
The Chris Cody curse. The Chargers have withstood, or they were so close to withstanding the Chris Cody curse of as soon as he became a Chargers fan, they looked like they stink. And they just they had the Chiefs on the ropes while taking the Chiefs' best punch, because this season, over the last 6 games, the Chiefs have rectified everything, and that game was the best one of the weekend. Like that felt like a championship. That felt like a playoff game. The rest
felt like a month ago.
The rest of what you've seen is just it's just laundry running up and down the field that you're betting on.
Stugotz is like the Staley is the Stugotz of the analytics community, because everybody else is like, oh, we should probably be going for it on 4th and short. And Staley's like, nope, every single time it's 4th down, I'm going for it. He just flies by everybody else.
The reason that I like him is because I've been advocating forever for the coach who's come in the press conference before they played a game and says, you know what? I'm going to trust my offense like this. I'm going to go for it all the time. Instead of I'm going to out-tough the other guys. I've been wanting someone to come in and explain the math on the front end of, this is what I'm going to do. You want to hear what I'm going to do that's different? This is how I'm going to be aggressive. But he's had to do it to defend himself after losses. I would have liked to have heard it 14 games ago, because now he's fighting people. Because now he's like, bleep off, this is how we're going to do things around here. Yeah. And when he loses, you don't have a winning argument. Like, it's just too many Stugotzes are going to bury you with buh.
He's going to be explaining it on Fox during the playoffs, because his team's going to miss the playoffs because he refuses to kick field goals.
He's going to be the coach on set.
While Parcells and Jimmy Johnson say, you know what, you got to go with the gut every once in a while. As Stugotz cites the Hall of Famers.
They're going to stick him in a locker.
Jimmy and Bill Parcells, who are doing the measurements with an abacus.
How many rings do they have?
Yes,
Dano?
Of course. There it is. That's right, Dano.
It's just insane that now, like this weekend, all of a sudden you discover an entire universe of people that are take the points guy. Like, I thought that this year, we've been going for it on 4th down way more this year than ever before. And for whatever reason, the last 4 days has been a critical mass of take the points.
So you just go for it every time without any feel, without any gut, without any flow to the game?
They were all perfectly defensive.
You fought back. You were down 14. You had no business being there. You let it come down to a play with your backup quarterback. That's a terrible job by Harbaugh.
Guys, after the last 2 years that we've had, I think you take what's guaranteed, and that's points.
That's Justin Tucker.
I love that Stugotz is out here. And Billy, you are forever the agent of chaos and anarchist. You don't believe any of those sounds.
I don't know what I'm
Doesn't even care.
No, what I love about this, though,
That's true.
is that you have absolutely badgered and manipulated Stugotz into a point where he doesn't even realize that he's telling all of America. He is arguing on behalf of cowardice, both cowardice and a wildly less interesting thing, which is
Imagine having this kicker, Dan, that makes it every single time he's out there. One of the greatest kickers we've ever seen. And Harbaugh just doesn't want to let him kick. I don't understand it.
Right.
Why does he do that to him?
I think your original point is
Because
the right
of
one.
Meatloaf.
No, he wanted to get home. That's right. He wanted. I think you are right that it doesn't have anything to do with the math of this. It's just like, come on, it's the holidays. Another again with the pandemic. Okay, I'm on what, my 8th running back. Lamar Jackson has gotten this thing like 17 times. But Lamar Jackson was getting COVID before we knew what those words meant. And I'm still in the top of this meat grinder of a division where, look at that division. Please go look at it.
And Tomlin won again.
Please go look at that division. Please look at as the Cleveland Browns limp on nubs. They're going to field the Cleveland Browns by the end of this season are just going to have a trash mountain of limbs on the field. You're not even going to know
Nick Mullins is playing
You're not even
quarterback.
going to know who they belong to. And it's going to stand, the Browns are going to stand atop that division somehow. As Pittsburgh and Tennessee yesterday, you heard me say it, they played a game. They should have just gone to the 50-yard line and hit each other in the face with hammers.
The Bengals are there, though, Dan.
Yeah, the AFC North, Bengals 8-6, Ravens 8-6, Browns 7-6. The Steelers, Stugotz, I'm surprised you haven't taken the tie is important corner yet.
It's still
Steelers bottom of the table, 7-6-1.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That might prove to be the best tie in the history of ties in the NFL. Certainly the most important one, right?
Mike Ryan, what's at stake today?
Since last
We
year's.
began the
Harbaugh
day
could have had a tie.
with Get Up, or no, not Get Up. Hugh Douglas. He was arguing about whether this game was
Harry Douglas to find.
I'm sorry.
$5.
Stephen Douglas, Douglas Edwards. They were arguing on the show today about what this game was more important for the Browns or the Raiders tonight. Are you living and dying with your 5 p.m. COVID result today?
Yeah. Yeah. Which one? Like the game or like an actual COVID result? Both.
You care about this how much today? Is it's just a bunch of hamburger that plays in your uniform?
I care about it deeply. It's probably a bigger game for the Raiders just because they're a game worse than the Browns in the standings, and a loss would do them in. But no, this is not what this season was about. Nick Mullins to the rescue with a makeshift offensive line. Donovan Peoples-Jones as your lone weapon on the outside. No safeties. And a Myles Garrett that's literally been wrapped in saran wrap for 72 hours. They've just had him in isolation, warning him, don't let anyone breathe on you.
Have they really?
Yeah, they
my
told him,
God.
don't let anyone breathe on you. Don't even come to practice.
Can't
We'll
be
see
true.
you Monday.
That can't be true. And just wrap them in saran wrap. We don't know. We don't
The
know if
saran wrap part I made up,
Yeah.
but they said, don't let anybody breathe on you. Don't even come to practice. We'll see you game day.
I'm imagining him wearing 7 masks now.
Do you have him arriving by hermetically sealed
Yes.
tube at the game? They're
Yeah.
just gonna the thing at the bank that just takes
Yeah,
the
the
jar
ATM
away?
Just shoot him right into the stadium.
No, I have
Yeah.
him like running around in one of those orbs, like the orbs that like you see at like a hockey game during the intermission where they
Like a
bump into each
hamster?
other.
Like a hamster
yeah,
wheel?
exactly, like an orb. And then he actually plays in it, so he's like running and he's trying to bowl over offensive linemen running in an orb.
Didn't John Travolta have a movie, the boy in the bubble? Didn't he live in? I think John Travolta, one of his original movies. That's what you guys was
You have
him.
him living in an
Jake
orb.
Gyllenhaal was Bubble Boy too,
Bubble
right?
Boy, yeah.
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 I love the idea of Myles Garrett being the only healthy Brown, right? Because that offense, I can't imagine what that 5 p.m. game, it's going to feel a little like the Saints Bucks game, is it not? Like you're not
Down
going to
to
get any
the-
offense from your third string everything out there on offense.
Down to their third string right tackle, their second string left tackle, which I really think is like their fourth string because the depth chart was just a bunch of guys playing on the right were supposed to take the spot on the left. They have their starting center. They now have their starting left and right guard. So that's big.
Hell yeah.
Mike, can you name everyone who's starting for your offense today? Are you on the offensive lineman?
I think so.
Okay, but the offensive lineman. So you haven't gotten into the realm yet of the offensive linemen that are just nameless fat guys.
I don't know who's at left tackle. I really don't. But we got Chubb, we got Mullins, we got Donovan Peoples-Jones. Harrison Bryant, I think, is going to try to give it a go. He has an ankle sprain. And Njoku got cleared. And Njoku, by the way, you were patient zero, my friend. Don't think I don't know you came to Miami during your bye week. This is on you.
He's a legendary partier, is he not? Even by the standards of that league.
He's back. I don't know who's at left tackle. Then we got Batonio, Treader, Teller, Blake Hance. And I think Higgins will be on the
who's your left tackle?
Outside.
Why do you not know in the most important game of your life who's playing left?
Well,
who's protecting who's protecting Nick Mullen?
It's Nick Mullins with an S. It would be Jed Wills, but he's still on the COVID list, so I have no idea who our left tackle is today.
Are the Raiders healthy? Like, I mean,
it looks like I don't know if Waller's going to play, and Nassib might be out. But they didn't have any positives this week. They were like one of 4 teams that didn't have any positives, so they are relatively COVID free. Entirely COVID free.
That's a positive.
That was a rough couple of seconds for you there, Chris Cody, on the timing. Please feel free to get in now.
Chris Whittingham just said that Christian Wilkinson is good at sex.
Well, Wilkins, first
Wilkins.
of all. Yeah, that's a fine.
Yeah.
Tell me if he's a good player, please. I know he's fun and he's charismatic and he does the worm in the end zone. And he can do.
That was the giveaway, I think, for the sex.
Yeah.
He can do
anybody
splits.
who can do the worm.
Well,
he also,
he also, while celebrating a national championship, did a split. So, I mean,
their defense is good. And I assume when their defense is good, that means the first round pick, who's a run stuffer, is also good. But what are the advanced measurements? People who know more than the average person, smart people, as Tony likes to call them, like Chris Long, or people who are looking deep into the numbers and can actually measure a defensive tackle's play. What are they saying about how good he is? Because they took a very high pick on him and their defense appears to be good. And he's at the anchor of helping center it, but I don't know how to do the measurements on him. And Chris Cody doesn't know how to pronounce his name.
I think it's more all just like Flores does that defense. I love this defense where it's like 7 guys at the line of scrimmage and you just don't know which guy's coming, which safeties are coming, which linebackers. So I think it's more confusion than it is. No, I think Wilkins is
he's 7th in the Pro Football Focus defensive interior lineman ranking. So
right, but he just kind of wears a lot of it, right? He's not the guy. You're not going to see a lot of numbers from him.
No, you're not. Like that's where you need Pro Football Focus to tell you if interior defensive linemen are good. Because every once in a while you have Aaron Donald where it just jumps off the screen. But second is Cameron Hayward of the Steelers. Like Steelers fans know that he's great, but I'm not sure that if I asked you name good defensive players that you'd bring up Cameron Hayward off the tip of your tongue.
Alex Taylor is starting at left tackle for the today. I've seen him once this year.
You made that name really
up.
That's a made-up name. That's like that Tom Kennedy that was playing for the Lions.
That's a regen who's a 6th-round pick in Madden in 2024.
Sounds like he could be a solid tackle, though, right? I mean, Alex
Taylor.
Yes.
I saw Alex Taylor against the Arizona Cardinals. It was really bad. It was a really bad game.
AT.
The thing that's so great, I think, Stugotz, about everyone just burying the Giants and Joe Judge and Gettleman and the arrogance of all of that New York Giants football team. What do they call themselves? The football Giants. Like very Wellington Mara out here, Wellington Mara's kid changing the rules so there's no taunting.
The G-Men. The New York Football Giants is what they call themselves.
And to see them on Fan Appreciation Day, as they're getting slaughtered and dragged by the Cowboys at home, give to their fans a medium Pepsi. There was a choice made in a boardroom somewhere among executives. We don't want to go small, right? Small Pepsi looks bad. But we don't want to go large either, right? Because sugary water and paper cups, that might cost us a little more. In one of the most expensive cities in the world where you have season tickets and we will give you 1 cup per 6 season ticket holder. Medium. I think.
Large, a little too rich for our blood.
It's you know what? I'm out at large. I don't appreciate you that much.
Souvenir cup out of the question.
No.
Out of the question.
But how about the part of the meeting where they decided that for Fan Appreciation Day, a soda would be enough? I mean,
understood, but that's
forget about the size.
But I
just
I don't want to forget about the size because everyone else is already laughing. The first part of the laughter is really a soda is your fan appreciation. I want to know about the meeting that arrived at medium.
Big boardroom, right? A lot of people, 15, 20 people looking around. What do you think?
We
Glizzy?
can't get
No
consensus.
popcorn?
Yes, no extra concessions. No, and large is too rich for our blood. But small makes us look cheap, right?
Medium is just right.
It's just a bunch of coward executives getting together and landing in the middle on a terrible idea.
A lot of pointing. What do you think? Yeah, I think medium's good. All the way down the line.
Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Dan, back when the pandemic started, which seems like a decade ago, we had it, and it was glorious. But as things seemingly were getting better, it was taken away from us. But with a variant that seems worse than the original, and a tidal wave of positive tests that has struck fear into the American people, Dan, make no mistake about it, the Monday, day-night doubleheader, and Tuesday night football are back. You excited?
I mean,
little day night. We get out of here. We get a pregame show in like an hour.
I mean,
what do you mean? I mean,
it's what you said before that. It's all the stuff you said before that.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to find the positives here. And the positives are, Dan, the day-night doubleheader on Monday and Tuesday night football, back.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
How about that?
The problem is there's too many positives, Stugotz.
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of back, welcome back to the Kansas City Chiefs. And hello, Tiger Woods. You see that over the weekend?
Him and his son playing?
Yeah. His son is good, Charlie.
I'm pretty sure that you left the studio one day last week saying Tiger will never play again. Or some version there. Right?
That was then. This is now, Dan. I saw him play again, and he looked good.
Goosebumps all weekend.
Yep. Slow crawl to the Masters. How about when Charlie ripped his dad for not putting it on the green? That was great.
Charlie doing like the finger point
Yes.
and like he's draining a 40-foot putt and like he's got the mannerisms down.
All
It's
of it.
terrifying.
He looks just like his dad. It's crazy.
He's
how-
leaning into it too. Like he's leaning
Yes.
into like, yeah, I'm gonna emulate all my dad's stuff.
he's going to be Bronny of golf. He's going to be better than his dad.
Oh, win a green coat.
It's a green jacket.
He's like 12.
I know.
Win a green coat, says our golf expert.
Could be wrong.
A big green winter coat.
Yes. Parka. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain we don't need to play the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
You are wrong.
What do you mean?
You're so wrong. We've got to play
The Myrtle Beach
the
Bowl?
Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. We got to name.
I have Utah State in the points. What are you talking about?
You see the mascot for Jimmy Kimmel? It's Jimmy Camel. It's fantastic.
He like threw up into a nearby river. There's video of Laura Rutledge with Jimmy Camel throwing up into a river.
The Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. I just giving it to a celebrity. It's just the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. They have not done that before this year, correct?
No, it's a new stadium in LA, so I think they like wanted to put a bowl game there. And Jimmy Kimmel, I think beforehand goes, I never dreamt of talking to a full stadium with my name on it, and I still haven't done it because there's nobody here making fun of the attendance at his own bowl game. Also, all the urinal cakes in the stadium had Matt Damon's face on it.
Jimmy Camel.
It's funny.
So you think we should be playing the Myrtle Beach Bowl today?
I think you're
Yes,
on
Stugotz.
one side you're saying give me more pro football, and on the other side saying give me less college football. Give you reasons to
Just
bet.
seems unnecessary.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
It's a Myrtle Beach Bowl. I mean, I don't know. By the way, I like Old Dominion. +9.5. ODU, the hook. Dan, in fact, I'm not certain we should play any of the. What happened there?
It's just you played your notes well there. You kept bringing
Nice little
it back.
setup and then
You needed me. You propped me up. You propped my bloated ass up. Dan, tell me how to care about this game so I can get to this Old Dominion 9.5 the hook joke.
You always win.
Always.
The Monarchs.
They are? Put it on the poll. Did you know it was the Old Dominion Monarchs?
Dan, I'm not certain any of these bowl games need to be played, and that includes Alabama and Cincinnati. They should just play the Michigan-Georgia game. Winner plays Alabama and call it a season. You seem to agree.
I mean, just your disrespect for Cincinnati.
Oh,
Is,
jeez.
it's
I mean,
just,
are you kidding me?
Your whole standard for college football is just be as good as Alabama. And I saw the stat from Joseph Goodman over the weekend that Alabama had more top 100 recruits, 11, than the ACC.
That's why I say it.
And so you say nobody's good except Alabama.
And I'm right.
And I mean, if Cincinnati standards, you have to be as good as Alabama. That sucks for Cincinnati. And you get to be right
It's
at every
not
turn.
a necessary game. Look what they did to Georgia. I was nervous. I had my doubts when they played Georgia. You and Mike had me worried. Okay, but look what they did.
None of the games are necessary, Stugotz. It's all made for television spectacle. Jake Paul knows it.
Yeah.
None of it matters.
You're right.
Whittingham's point of, what about the sports integrity? None of it matters.
An angry, embarrassed Tom Brady is my favorite Tom Brady. Rest of the league, watch out and be careful. I care about you.
I'm not going to do it, but good
You
Lord.
want to.
You take his skill guys and suddenly gets shut out. Like, I can't desecrate the resume, but
He
God,
won Super Bowls with Troy Brown.
I know, but
Get outta
Stugotz,
here.
just seeing him shut out is stunning, and seeing him shut out as soon as a couple of the weapons leave, it was just all stunning. Seeing you got to agree with that. You can't.
They
say,
beat him in the playoffs a year ago.
I'm not
the
saying
Saints.
it means something. I'm just telling you that it was stunning to see him score 0 points in prime time and be frustrated and throw things, and it was just weird.
But that's my favorite Brady, because you know what's coming now, Dan.
Well, if he gets those guys healthy, one would assume,
He'll
correct?
get him healthy.
I mean, they've got 10 of them.
That's what Guerrero is there for.
They've got 10. It is true. That's what he's there for. They've got
Chris
10
Godwin is on IR.
It'll be fun.
They've got 10. Antonio Brown, all of a sudden, Bruce Arians is less non-committal about, I don't know what we're going to do about Antonio Brown.
Stroll on through, AB.
Brady's only been shut out, by the way, as a starter 3 times in his career.
And I don't remember any of them. And he's
Well, the last one was 15 years ago.
06 against the Dolphins, 21-0.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous.
06 against the Dolphins.
I think it was last game of the season, and then he went undefeated the next
It was
season.
December 10th, 06. So
He
sounds right.
said, never again. Get me Randy Moss. Never again. I will not be shut out. Do you realize what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend 2 decades shitting on that franchise. Get me Randy Moss.
Western Kentucky, the rare 50 burger with a side of no one gives a shit. The Hilltoppers. Jackson State, blah, blah, blah. Coach Prime, blah, blah, blah.
Really?
I mean, they lost.
Okay, that's all that matters.
Yeah. No one in baseball screams long-term vision and young, innovative thinking quite like Buck Showalter.
Are you happy about that? You're a Mets fan.
I mean, come on. How could I be happy?
I know you're a Mets fan.
So what does that have to
He
do
knows
with
a
anything?
lot about. He knows a lot about baseball.
Does he know a lot about winning? I mean,
You're not happy about that.
no, it's Buck Showalter. Who gets excited about Buck Showalter? I mean, when Buck Showalter walks into his house, his family doesn't get excited.
Is your owner not the guy who loves names and sexy things, and he wants to get in the game?
Stevie A. Cohen, yeah. Buck Showalter, Snow Globe promotional giveaway night, City Field, collision course, Buck Snowalter night. They had it in Baltimore. The hoot. You know, they do it every year. He makes it like Christmas in the spring. Calls it Snow Walter.
Are you excited about this or are you not?
What does it sound like? Snow globes.
It sounds like you're excited about it.
I don't know.
You've got jokes to make for an entire season? 65-year-old Buck Showalter, a young 65, according to Tim Kirkshin.
Yeah.
Who says that the Mets will never lose a game because they've been outmanaged.
Okay,
that's what.
great.
I'm just telling you.
I mean, but we also say like managers account for maybe 4 to 6 wins a year. So now we're never going to be outmanaged. I mean, come on.
I'm just telling you what Tim Kirkshin says.
Okay.
I'm
lashing out at you. I'm sorry. I was expecting someone different. I mean, anyone.
Anyone other than Buck
Just someone
Showalter?
young. I mean,
okay.
Did you see what he did with the Orioles?
Hey, but everybody would have lost with the Orioles. It's one of the,
It wasn't the manager's fault, is what you're saying.
do you think it was?
I mean, I don't know. I'm confused.
You think the Orioles were bad because Buck Showalter was bad
It
at
was him and
managing?
Chris Davis, I think. There. I don't believe Urban Meyer when he says he's sorry. Is there a more hollow apology in the history of apologies than the apology that comes from the mouth of Urban Meyer? Top 5 hollow apologists. You ready, Dan?
You don't have a top 5 hollow apologist list.
I do.
No way you do.
I do. I have it right
I don't
here.
believe it.
I listen. I did it a while ago. I had to go through my desk. I found it. I did it like 6 years ago.
This is very
But I have it,
exciting.
yeah.
I can't believe this is a delight right now.
Yeah.
What a surprise on a Monday. Out of nowhere, Stugotz breaks out his top 5 ever hollow apologist list. This is very exciting. Number 5.
Lance Armstrong.
That's good.
Pretty good,
It's
right?
going to be a strong list. Number 4.
Rick Pitino.
Really? Patino ahead of Lance Armstrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, my list.
No, yeah, understood. My skepticism. Number 3.
Benedict Arnolds.
Wow.
Benny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did he apologize?
I don't think
I don't
he did.
know if
I
he
don't
did
know.
or he did. It was hollow if he did, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. His traitorous apology, if there was one, would have been hollow.
Yeah, I believe he did apologize. Yeah.
You look it up. Okay, look it up. Go ahead, because that's just straight bullshit. All he knows, he gave you all the Benedict Arnold information he's got, which is just traitor.
Yeah.
Look it up. Put it on the poll,
My move.
Guillermo, please. Did Benedict Arnold ever apologize? Yes or no?
I do have a letter from 1780. Benedict Arnold to George Washington,
How about that?
pleading for mercy for his wife.
Little pen to paper, huh?
That's not an apology, though. That's a
What
plea.
are you talking about?
That's a plead for mercy after betraying.
Read the entire thing. I'm certain you will find an apology somewhere buried in that letter. There's an apology, right? There has to be.
Look it up. Number 2.
Me.
Oh, how are you not number 1?
Because Urban Meyer is.
Really? There's a new number 1. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, the sincerity meter has changed. Urban Meyer has gone to the very historic top of greatest fraudsters in the history of sports.
Louis C.K. OLI.
Sure.
OLI. Does anyone besides Woody walk around with manuscripts from 1780?
I actually had it in my bag. I've been waiting my
He
whole
rolled
life
it
for
out-
this day to
He
come.
rolled it out like an old King's Scroll. I couldn't believe he found it so quickly. He's been waiting all his life. He's been walking around with somebody wanting somebody to request that scroll from the 1780s. Thank you, Whitty, for just having Benedict Arnold's letter on you.
Did you find the
I hope
apology?
you don't get mugged on the South Florida streets for having that valuable artifact on you.
Philip Dorsett is a Texan, and Duke Johnson no longer is. He's a Dolphin. Weird times,
What
man.
the hell was that? Was that my
don't know.
father?
Yeah. What was that?
How witty.
You fool.
He's like spinning 7 plates. I have my feet kicked up back here.
Doing nothing, right?
Found a
well,
goddamn letter from the 1780s.
OLI? Weird times. That's all. Kemba Walker, statement game. Up until yesterday, the Jets were the only team in the league without a lead at halftime.
It's amazing.
I hate them.
Yesterday started with the Jets, Lions, and Texans up double digits. Nothing you're watching is real.
Trevor Lawrence, your shield is gone. Start playing better. Just warning you. The Jaguars are better with Urban Meyer.
What is the warning?
It's a warning.
I'm okay.
You know
For
what?
what?
You had Urban. It's a warning. I'm coming after you. Okay.
Or
and I'm not
else.
alone.
Oh.
Billy's with me. Chris Cody is with me. I know Mike Ryan's with me. We had this discussion the other day. Your shield is
Been
gone.
skating all season.
Skating all season. Start playing better, or we start coming after you. Okay. And you've been warned.
Jags have the #1 pick now too. Don't forget it.
Yep. Use it on a quarterback.
Maybe.
Looking
I'm
over
with
his
you.
shoulder for sure.
The Jags are better with Urban Meyer, right?
They miss him. They miss him that first game. They were 5.5-point favorite.
They're more interesting with him, though, right? I mean,
Yes.
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 A lot more interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
He scored like 0 points in their last game with him.
Yeah, but
That was an interesting 0 points. You're watching that go,
No,
wow,
but-
this
no,
is
but-
interesting.
I mean, we're
Watching
still
him-
talking about him and he's
Right.
gone. That's
He
kind
got
of the
fired
point.
after. It was
yeah.
interesting.
watching him suffer is more interesting than if he had put up 27 in that game.
Mike Tomlin did what Mike Tomlin does.
Found where the cameras were.
Yeah. If you want to send the Steelers to below 500, you're going to have to kill Mike Tomlin. It's the only way, Dan. That man will not go below 500.
Did you steal a joke from Mike Ryan in the chat during the postgame show and put it in your weekend observations?
Well, to be honest, what I did was I sent Mike my weekend observations, and Mike added his joke from the post-game show to my weekend observations. That was very nice of him. He lent it to me.
Let you borrow it?
Yeah, because I sent him the mic. He needs to edit these things and proofread them, and, you know, most of them don't make it on air.
I'm just saying he made this joke. People who are listening to this show in order heard this joke 4 hours ago.
That's on Mike.
You don't like leftovers?
Do I like leftovers?
I like to reuse a joke every once in a while.
Exactly.
If it was good the first time, it could be good again. A little heat it up, baby.
Thank you, Chris.
Peace.
David Culley should get some Coach of the Year consideration. Right?
No.
What do you mean, no? Got 3 wins with that team? Are you kidding me?
No.
Name 5 players on the
Put
team.
it on the poll. Are you going to make me do this? Because I just learned Philip Dorsett plays for the Texans yesterday.
Name 4 more Texans.
Cooks is every week he's got 100 yards back there. Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, Deshaun Watson. Have I gotten to 5
You're
yet?
naming all the quarterbacks.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I would have thought they still had Duke Johnson before
Their
yesterday.
linebackers come to the game in costume.
Different
Rex
game.
Burkhead.
Different game. Name one guy who plays defense for the Houston Texans.
Oh.
Is Brian Cushing still around?
There's no way.
No, Brian Cushing. They have all the linebackers who come to the games in costumes. They wear mat, or they did that. They don't do that anymore. Are those guys gone? Are all of those guys gone? This is a reflection on us, not the Texans. This is. I don't believe this is. I believe.
I just looked at their depth chart. I don't recognize a single name.
And
Brian
Culley-
Cushing was
Roy Lopez.
Yeah.
I thought they still had D'Amico Ryans. He's the defensive coordinator for the 49ers.
Brian Cushing was the assistant strength and conditioning coach for the Texans
Oh, it's close.
last year. Yeah.
Name one, Dan.
the Texans. What now? What am I being asked to name now? Name one? What
Defensive player
You're
for the Houston
coughing?
Texans.
Oh, he's coughing over here. He's coughing. He's spewing.
I'm okay.
All right.
I was laughing so
Reflecting.
hard at Chris's joke.
D'Amico Ryan's just a great name.
It is a great. It is a good comedic name. There's no disputing it.
He has 140 tackles as the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. He's racking up tackles.
Which is exactly the reason David Culley should get some Coach of the Year consideration.
I'm with you, Stugotz.
Thank you.
I saw a Jason Lockenfora story from before the game yesterday. Apparently, David Culley is on the hot seat in Houston.
Oh, my God.
And I'm thinking to myself, what does this guy have to do? Like, he has absorbed every manner of awful thing that could happen to a coach. He's had to play Davis Mills for half the season. They've won 4 games.
Right.
What more do you want from David Culley?
Lose more so we can get that first pick.
Oh, Tunsil plays for them. He's on IR, but he plays for them as well.
Defense, we said defense.
I just remembered Laramie Tunsil out of nowhere, though. I remember they traded. That was Bill O'Brien's last move. Good
Great
God.
trade that was to the Dolphins. Oh, my God.
The glory days with Bill O'Brien.
God.
If he doesn't get fired, he could win the hot seat of the year award, right?
Ah, Billy bringing back the Hot Seat of the Year award.
Who's the favorite right now for Hot Seat of the Year?
Who is the favorite?
It's
Billy?
not Urban anymore because he didn't survive.
Billy,
Right.
we need an announcement. Now, we
Yeah.
thought Urban was the runaway winner for Hot Seat of the Year. Who's going to win Hot Seat of the Year now? Brian
Culley's
Flores?
in there.
Brian Flores is no longer on the hot
he's,
seat.
he's off. Yeah, Pete Carroll, depending on how this week goes, might be right back in the mix. We'll see.
Very exciting. Get back to us on that, okay?
And don't forget Staley also. Staley's up in the running there.
What?
Genius.
He's taking
And Mike
out,
McCarthy.
Billy is now developing a hatred for Staley out of nowhere. He's just going to.
That's his guy now.
Billy now wants to be.
He is
wants
zoned
to,
in.
He wants to be against Matt.
He wants to be with Schlereth on an analytic has never thrown a block before.
The fact that Stink isn't a coach somewhere is a crime.
He should just run around saying to everyone, Stink should be on a sideline just exhorting everyone, I love football, and that's it.
Put it on the poll.
He doesn't have to do anything else. No other coaching. Just like occasionally leave a grill and come to the sidelines with something still sizzling in the background and just yell at everybody, I love football, and then have them go out there and just see what happens. I feel like that would work. No, I'd totally give him a position.
That's why it's a crime. That's what Billy said.
His title should just be football coach, not a team. He's not a coach of any one team. He just coaches football.
Wherever he shows up.
He
Yeah.
loves it so much. He was loving 21-6 Cowboys Giants. Saquon Barkley 6-yard catches the back of the football with his he's a ridiculous athlete who can't stay healthy. Think about that, Stugotz. Saquon Barkley has thighs bigger than anyone in the sport.
Yes. They're in my Body Parts Hall of Fame.
It's a useless now position. Nobody needs it. They clearly botched the whole thing by taking someone like him so early. Yesterday, he made the greatest 6-yard catch any of us have ever seen. But people think that he's made of rattan because
Or is he made of bowling ball? Dan, does he make your top 5 football players made out of bowling ball?
Are we gonna? I think we got to tease that for
Yeah,
the
we
rest of the week. A gift for the holidays.
Yes, a gift for
we
the
can't give
holidays.
it all away.
Can't
on
give
the
it away
first
today.
day. No.
We're giving them observations right
gift.
now.
Yes. Remind me to get to it, Billy. There are all sorts of things. You laugh, but what about the gift we've given the people of favorite colors? We gave them that at the end.
You know what we forgot? The gift we were giving people was your top 25 Christmas songs.
Oh, that's right.
We did like 2 of them.
I forgot about that.
A lot of catching up to do this
We have
week,
2
Dan.
lists to get to this week, Dan.
Okay, top 25 Christmas songs and top 5 bowling
We are
ball
so
bodies.
behind.
Do we need to call Rick Springfield or are we good
We
here?
do. We got it. Would you get him on by the end of the segment, please? I need his number, whatever number we're on. Get him on, or is he still on hold? He's still there? Okay, just tell him we'll
Always
get to him
on
in a
hold,
second.
Dan. Yeah. Death, taxes, and Anthony Davis being out for a month. Well, Dan, another year and another sack for J.J. Watt. No one jumpstarts an organization quite like Buck Showalter. I'm still making Showalter jokes.
Yeah, we've just started, ladies and gentlemen. Mets fan Stugotz is going to be making Showalter jokes all season.
Rafael
It's a funny
Nadal.
name. It's a funny name. That's part of what's happening here.
Yes, and he's old.
Yes, but it's a combination. It's in
And
your,
Snowwalter.
and you can make
What a promotional night.
Snowwalter.
In May. I'll get you a snow globe. Rafael Nadal tested positive for COVID. He should just send his left arm out to play matches. Can I go 5 minutes listening to the radio or watching TV without hearing about Peyronie's disease and the fact that my carrot might be bent? Anyone else notice? Not my carrot. Oh, are you kidding me? Peyronie's disease.
Look it up.
Look it up.
They use all these vegetables to show how your carrot may be bent.
It sounds horrifying, all of it. I think it's bentcarrot.com. I'm not even joking.
Hell yeah.
It's not bent. It can't
Dan,
be bent.
I'm telling look it up.
All right, I'm going to look it up.
I'm telling you, Peyronie's carrot.
No, I'm going to do bentcarrot.com. I'm gonna do it right now. No, what happened? You're backing up already? All right, let me see what's got.
It's something like that, I'm telling you.
All right, let's see what we got. But please keep going. Don't let me stop you.
I just went to it.
Yeah.
It says at the top, help reduce the bend.
There you go.
I'm telling you, man. It's haunting me.
Xiaflex. It does say help reduce the bend. The bend with a bump.
That looks nice.
He's right.
What?
It is. What looks nice?
Don't worry about it.
Can learn about treatment. Find a trained urologist.
Just unbend it,
Find
man.
a trained urologist. Yeah, you better. If you're unbending your carrot, you should do so with a trained urologist.
Have you seen these commercials? Every break.
It's good marketing. Otherwise, it would slide right past you. That is such a better marketing meeting than the Giants getting together and arguing about whether a small cup or a medium cup or a large cup is the way to go for Fan Appreciation Day.
1913. The Steelers have been winning that game since the beginning of time. What happened?
I'm spinning plates here.
Okay.
There's a lot going on. Get us to the finish line, Stugotz.
I imagine Vic Fangio.
He was talking to Rick Springfield.
Gives out game balls even when his team loses 15-10. Fangs.
Especially when he loses.
Game balls?
Not even when, especially when it loses 15-10.
Aaron Rodgers has 30 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. In his last 29 games, he has 78 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. That's all I got. Is there anything more daunting to hear than a tidal wave of sickness and death is headed our way this winter? So depressing, man. Report: Delta is combining with how do you say it? Omicron. No. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
They're combining. A dream team. Hell is going on. Speaking of hell, and me wheezing to the finish line. Our prize. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
We are not wheezing to the finish line because
tired.
Rick Springfield is here with his 5th favorite color.
Springfield's favorite colors: orange, yellow, purple, pink, blue, magenta, green. Will he choose what color? 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 Will he choose today?
Number 5, Rick Springfield, heartthrob from the 80s, Jesse's Girl.
Deer color, kind of orangey brown.
Huh.
Orangey brown.
All right, Red.
Deer color.